Welcome back, everyone, to Advantage in Paradise. Let's jump into this. Last we met, the Wayward Five sealed their deal with Katya, the Kobold Hunter, to lead them through the fields of glass. But first, they decided to investigate and snuff out the Pale Covenant presence in Nephrodala. After catching the curious Axelborn Lallup, best friend to Katya, after capturing him stealing from Timber, Curon, recognizing his stealth and ability to weed out information, hired him to do some reconnaissance for the team. The nervous Axelborn agreed after some intimidation, we'll say. But he also told them what information he knew already, primarily about the last victim of the Pale Covenant in the town, and that you could find his widow, Ishtiak, and that she might have some answers for you. But he also gave them, perhaps just out of nervous desperation, a key that he had pickpocketed from a rich man's guard that was getting drunk in the Laughing Serpent Tavern. The party took this information and sent Lallup on his way to go seek out more information about the Pale Covenant for them. They then split up to begin the investigation, as well as preparing for their future adventures. Katya went for supplies, while Wiswick worked on his spells. Timber and Curon, though, began questioning the locals regarding the Pale Covenant. They met with a member of the Council, the governing body in Nephrodala. His name was Auric Veshtri. They found him walking amongst the merchant vendors, talking to different townsfolk. A real people's person, a real people's politician. When speaking with him, he talked about how the rest of the councilate seemed to care little for the plight of the people, as the town shriveled without outside trade. He told them all he knew of the Covenant. Their victims tended to not stay dead, their bodies found wandering harmlessly until approached, in which case they would be sent into a violent rage. The Councilate and Nephrodala have turned to burning the bodies of these victims. He also said that he would try to get the group access to this most recent body, which was in Yexarid's estate, Yexarid being another member of the Councilate, the most wealthy, and who seems quite cavalier about the Pale Covenant threat, believing it will blow over on its own. The party split from Auric and went to question the barkeep of the Laughing Serpent about what they've learned. Beforehand, before they went inside to the Laughing Serpent, they went to check in with Oriel's retainers, Rosen and Gil. Rosen was particularly worried because Oriel had not returned and had not checked in with them yet. This made the group a little bit concerned. So Curon attempted to cast Sending, but he could not reach their friend, Oriel. He knew the spell went through, so he knew he was not dead, but he must have been unconscious for him to, or he was incredibly busy at that point and couldn't pick up the phone. Though this brought them great caution, the party continued their investigation of the Pale Covenant, hoping to check in with Oriel later, deciding to hope for the best. When going inside to the Laughing Serpent, they learned from Sunny that the guard Lallup stole the key from was fired from Yexarid's estate, and that the key must belong to that estate then. They continued on to visit the council chambers, where they would try and find the whereabouts of Oriel to trace his steps. The counselor within, a hobgoblin named Xeris, said that he left with Yexarid and Saravine, two other counselors, to go discuss the Pale Covenant threat, as well as to discuss the Gwyn representative that had left months earlier. Wiswick decided that this was the point to scry on Oriel, and he found him unconscious in a basement prison, it seemed. Stone walls, very old, much like a lot of these stone structures of Neferdala, with a wooden ceiling and a single basement window with some unkept flowers and brush around it, and a large amount of pollen leaking in from the window. As he stayed there, or as he listened and watched through the scrying orb, Oriel seemed unconscious, and he heard two voices shouting at one another above. After this, the party decided to move on to question the widow Ishtiak, much to Wiswick's chagrin, who felt they needed to find Oriel immediately. They learned when they arrived at Ishtiak's, they investigated the exterior and found several clues to the attack. They found claw marks on the outer wooden courtyard, indicating some kind of creature had clawed its way in here. They found 3 sets, 2 that looked much more vicious and bestial, and 1 that seemed somewhat like dragonborn claws. They saw that they had attacked the guard in the exterior, and they had climbed up through the window into the estate. The outside guard, Draxis, brought them in to meet with Ishtiak, who, after gaining a little bit of trust from them with some help of Curon's calm emotions, told the story of what happened that night. She said that all was silent and she heard nothing at all, as if a silence spell may have been cast. And then suddenly she was only awoken by the feeling of her husband's own blood splashing against her face, as her eyes darted open, and what she saw was a glaive through her husband's chest, his body lifted in the air by this glaive, being held by a female white dragonborn. Flanking this female dragonborn was 2 frightening creatures that standed quite tall, and they had these antlers spiking off of their heads, these raven-skulled faces, and beast-like bodies. Her husband was dead and was a victim of this Pale Covenant. She said that the Dragonborn came up to her and, grasping at her neck, simply just held her finger to her lips to silence Ishtiak. Because of this, she had not told anyone up to this point about what happened that night specifically. After some questioning, the Wayward Five began investigating the scene of the crime. There, they found residue of pollen. They also found that a lot of the personal belongings of Ishtiak's husband had been taken. Not nefarious thing, not simple things, but important things to him. There was a decorated sheath that had no dagger left in it. There was a portrait that had been pulled from the frame itself. Huron thought long on this and remembered that the Pale Covenant's brand of necromancy was meant to bind the true soul of a body to the undead creature, to improve the quality of construct, and perhaps for nefarious reasons. They left after this and split up. But before they did that, Ishtiak gave them one last piece of information. That the day before the murder, her husband had been tending to their garden and had been shooing away countless ravens and crows that seemed to be coming all around. She said there was particularly one that she felt like was staring into her soul, a white raven, which Wiswick immediately recognized as the white raven that was watching the party on their way here. But the party split back up to do their investigations. Wiswick and Timber were to infiltrate Yexarid's estate, while Katya and Curon would speak with Auric to see if they could get access to the estate without sneaking in, and to update him on the situation. But when they arrived to Auric's estate, his wife told them that he had not returned. When they questioned her on this, she said he often spent late nights at Yexarid's and others. Politics and work tended to take long hours. But that she had hoped desperately that the two weren't fighting, because they had a tendency in the past to get into shouting matches. Huron, recognizing that Wiswick had heard shouting in his scry, immediately stepped outside and attempted to cast Sending to Auric. He distinctly did not reach Auric. And the only reason you would not be able to reach someone with the Sending spell is if they are on another plane of existence or they are dead. They immediately excused themselves from Auric's estate and began rushing out into the streets to catch up with their friends who had already gone ahead. This is where we left off. It is late in the evening. It's past dinner time, past sunset, probably around, I would say, 8:30-ish. Timber and Wiswick have already gone ahead because you split earlier. But you're not terribly far ahead. I'd say you're at like a half hour ahead of them. Because you would have reached the estate and had been doing things while they were with Auric's wife. Because the estate is not too far from Auric's, since they're all kind of clustered together in the old district. So I'm going to start with Timber and Wiswick, and then we'll go to Katya and Huron. So Timber and Wiswick, what would you like to do?
Are we like in front of? Okay, go ahead.
I would, based on what you saw in your vision, I imagine we should scout around the outside of, or the perimeter of the estate. Maybe to find a window, a basement window.
Sounds like a good idea. There were purple flowers near a garden that looked overgrown, like unkempt.
Okay.
Keep
Good.
an eye out.
Good catch. I'm gonna cast Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. Give me quick perception checks just for the exterior of the estate.
You got it. 19 for me.
Let's see here. Can I go with the? I guess I'll just use my own. I got an 18.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Nice. All right, so you both would see roughly the same thing with those scores. So you would get to, I'd say you'd get to the exterior of the estate. You would recognize the tower that everyone talks about. There's the high tower that he built. You can see little torch lights up in the highest chamber of the tower. And then you could see like the rooftop of the estate itself. There is a wall around the estate that's about 12 feet tall of stone, fitted stone, and then some wrought iron gates at different places. So you would need to get over the wall to then investigate the exterior itself.
Visik, can you how tall is the wall?
12 feet.
12 feet, sorry. And what time of day is this?
It's around 8:30.
Okay, so the sun is pretty much set.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. There's okay. You can recognize that there's like torchlight in the interior in certain places, but the exterior there's only a few torch lights that are the typical street lights in this area, lanterns that have been lit.
Okay.
Timber.
Yes.
How about I'll have Jet scout ahead, make sure that there's nobody watching above if you want to try and climb the wall, and then I could set you invisible. But I mean, I might have to walk through the front door being invisible because, maybe it's better if we just go through the front. Because I mean, I can't climb this wall, and I don't want to set anything off,
We can get you over, right?
I mean, maybe with the rope, but it would take a while. might get spotted.
Sean.
I think I know what you're going to ask, so go ahead and ask it.
If I were to levitate with Wiswick in my hands, would that work?
I think so, because doesn't levitate have a like
A weight thing?
Yeah.
Let me check again.
Sean thought you were gonna toss me over like a sandbag.
I did. No, actually, what I thought you were gonna ask me is if you could like somehow hold him and use the the blink with him.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's the case. I don't think
But
I
that's
can.
not how that works. I don't
Yeah.
think. But the levitate absolutely will work because it has a 500-pound limit, and you yourself can carry Wiswick.
Okay.
If it would be more of a matter of if something's too heavy for you to carry than it is
Right.
to levitate, because you're also very leaf. So I would say absolutely you could levitate with Wiswick.
Oh crap! Can I retcon my pass without a trace since we didn't make a stealth roll yet?
I will allow you to do that because I hadn't described the conditions of the scene yet when you cast that.
Thank you. Wiswick, I can carry you over. With these boots.
Great. Okay. One last thing. Why don't I just cast Detect Magic while we're out here, you know, just to be sure that we don't set off anything magical, traps or whatever?
That's a good idea.
So yeah, I'm gonna ritual cast detect magic as quickly as possible while staying like near the vicinity of the wall
Okay.
on the outside.
So you would need to get closer to. You would need to get like up on the wrought iron gates, because the
Well,
wall
it's-
is thick enough that it would block your detect magic. Because detect magic's blocked by a
Right.
foot of stone.
Okay, so yeah, it's not very practical for me to do that. Never mind.
What if I get you to the top of the wall, and then you can detect from there?
I'd allow you guys to do like a stealth roll while you're levitating to do that, or if you just want to hold them up, right for now at least.
Yeah.
Well, if your levitation is right next to the edge of the wall, if we could get to the top, I could just like jump off you onto the wall and do it there.
Let's do that.
If there's no enemies or anything.
So first of all, I'm gonna send Jet up to the top of the wall.
I think Jet
And-
with Curon, actually. Sorry.
Oh, Jet
right.
is with
Right.
Huron, yeah.
Just
Man, why did
remembered.
I leave him? Okay.
We
Yeah, why would you ever give him to me?
wait. Hold. We can inspect over the wall before we commit. Hop on, and then we would like to go in between where maybe like I know you say the exterior of torches or the wall is lit with torches. Can we go in like some darkened area where it's in between two torches?
Yeah, I would say, for your reference, Timber and both of you, there's like not really anybody on the streets right now. People seem to avoid the streets at night. Maybe a condition of there's murders that's been happening. So you're fairly safe. You could even like put those torches out if you wanted to, to quietly, or like one of them.
Yeah, maybe one's further from the door. So just a quick little stuff from Mage Hand.
Easy enough to do.
Prestidigitation.
Yeah. Both can handle
Okay,
it.
so the section of the wall now where you are is completely dark.
All right. So
There's residual light from like the moon in the interior.
imagine Wiswick will hop onto Timber's back, and Timber's going to levitate up to the top of the wall for us to inspect over.
Okay. Please give me stealth checks with advantage, both of you. For the dark and that you are leaning against stone, Wiswick.
Nice. Where's that pass without trace when you need it?
Sorry.
Woof.
I got a 10.
Woof. I got a 19. Wait, 18, sorry.
18? Okay, so what was yours again? 10?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So in that case, I'll average them out. So Wiswick, you do see on the other side. I'll say this is how this plays out. You lean up on there, and you're struggling a little bit to pull yourself up, maybe making a little bit too much noise to pull yourself up high enough to look over. But timber is kind of keeping you from falling or making as much noise as you would normally. You peek over, and you can see. Give me a quick perception check with disadvantage because of how much the struggle with the deck save, or not deck save. Sorry, stealth. It's been a long weekend. I'm impressed.
I got a 6.
It's a backyard. No. You do notice there's obvious things you'll notice. It's a rather large estate. You guys have come up on the rear of the estate. You can tell that you're in the back. There's no courtyard here for the entrance. The entrance is probably on the opposite side, like the main entrance. But there are like garden entrances back here. That's what these wrought iron fences are. The reason you don't notice much more than that is you kind of do a quick scan across, and then you look down, and immediately looking down, you see a probably 8-foot tall creature that has sort of this wiry body that looks like it's made of undead flesh, and these massive spiked antlers that come off from around the back of its head, and then you can see as it quickly turns and looks, it doesn't see you, but it looks in your direction, and you quickly drop your head down. You would see that it has that raven skull mask that was described by Ishtiak. The creatures are here, and they seem to be patrolling the grounds.
What do you see?
Oh, wow, this hasn't happened in a long time, but I didn't plug my laptop in.
Oh my god, Sean.
Throwback.
Wow.
We had D&D in person for the first time in a long time. A lot of stuff got moved in my apartment. I will be right back, because it's going to die if I don't.
That's what that bring noise was.
What did you see, Vizik?
Monsters that they were describing at Ishtiak's house. I think they're in there. They're patrolling the grounds. This person is definitely involved with the cult somehow.
Did you see
Maybe
any?
he's related to the female dragonborn that was identified there.
Did you see any purple flowers in the windows on the estate itself, or no?
I mean, the thing almost saw me. I'm lucky that I didn't get spotted.
Okay. What do you want to do? We can either... Well, it sounds very dangerous to us for us to explore this yard, this backyard, or this outer perimeter. We could go through the front door. I guess is both obvious and not.
Look,
They wouldn't
I've-
expect it.
I've had a little experience with cults before, and if it's anything like the Underdark, these people are not to be reasoned with or trusted in any way. If Curon gets here, we're going to have to take a hostile route anyway. We might as well try and get an advantageous position before we make our assault. So, do you want to just go invisible and sneak around and see if there's like a way in we could find, and then reconnaissance, so when we go in with everyone we'll know where we're headed?
We could do that. If I do that, there is a chance I get detected by one of these creatures. I think I can get away from them pretty easily, though.
So too.
I don't know
so how-
about yourself, though. Do you
I
think?
don't think I'll be detected. I have other methods of escaping, but if I am in trouble and I have to break the illusion magic, I might reveal you if I get caught. So
That's fine.
I recommend, that you take point, because you're probably better at running away than I am.
Yes. Okay. So do you want me to go over and you stay out, or?
Well, we're already both up here. I might as well just stay on the wall. I'll go around the perimeter, and you try and find a way in.
Around the wall?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea, right? I'll count the guards.
Sean, so there's the estate, there's the wall around the estate, and it's like a side yard, or like whatever yard around the estate, and then all the monsters are in the yard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you would see that it's essentially just like a simple square wall, or really it's more like an L-shaped wall around the estate. It's like this. You're at the bottom of it, like the southern portion of it. So essentially, there's the estate itself, the actual manor, is right ahead of you, and you're in the back, like the garden area around it. Beyond that, you can see behind the estate is the tower itself, and likely a courtyard where someone can enter from a main gate. But it's not like a wall, like you can't walk on the top of the wall. It's not like a reinforced wall. It's just like a foot thick stone exterior that a rich person would have with wrought iron gates.
Got it. Okay.
And it seems like there are these creatures. He only saw one, but there at least one creature is in there patrolling.
So we could take the main entrance until we get a little deeper in, or
so Sean, I don't know how close we casted levitate next to the wall. I'm hiding behind the wall, right? Like I'm all
we're like right below it.
Yeah, you're really only levitated a few feet off the ground, and your guys are just kind of in the middle of the wall.
Oh, okay. Then how did I see over the wall?
I pushed you up.
No, it's because you guys came down when you saw the monster. You were pushed up when you were originally looking.
So we'll go invisible. You'll push me back up. I'll be on top of the wall, invisible. I'm gonna set markers on the side of the wall with ink. I'll try and keep them hidden, but they'll look like this.
And I'll paint like a little just like X on the side of the wall that we're like floating next to.
And I say, if you see those markers, that's showing which way I'm going, since you won't be able to see me either.
You should stay near me though, because that'll make us a little bit more undetectable.
Okay. Then let's do it that way. Do you want to try the mansion or the tower first?
Oh, probably the mansion. Where would Kiron go?
If I know anything about evildoers, they usually lock people away in
the
tower.
tower, right? Yes, that sounds right. But where would Kiron go? Unless we don't want to deal with what Kiron is.
Kiron would go to the front door and most likely,
right,
try and talk his way in.
I think it's beyond talking now.
I agree.
All right. Let's go to the mansion first, in case that he decides from whatever he finds out.
Keep in mind, I could also, let's go to the mansion, because I heard those two voices. Maybe I could identify them if we go to the mansion, right?
Good idea. Okay, make us invisible.
All right.
I do that, and we head out.
And then once we jump over and get beyond the wall, I'm going to cancel levitate and then cast Pass Without a Trace.
Perfect. That'll break your invisibility, right?
No, because I'm casting invisibility.
Oh, because you're casting it.
Right. I'm casting it at a 4th level, so it affects both of us.
Okay.
3rd level?
Third. It's a 2nd level spell. I'm casting it at 3rd level for the both of us. Right.
No, it will. Kaze, it will break your invisibility if you cast Pass Without a Trace, because it says the spell ends.
Yeah,
for a target.
I'm casting it first, and then he's casting it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you then.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were going over the wall, and as soon as you land on the other side, you were going to cast it.
Right.
No problem. You got it. Cool. Perfect. All right, excellent. So then I'll have you both roll stealth checks with advantage and plus 10.
All right.
Part of me's like, do I even have them roll? Because it's so.
Oh, don't worry. We could roll nat ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Two
believe
nat
in our
ones.
ability to fail. I got
That's
a
right.
24.
I got a 30.
A 30? Okay, yeah. Quiet as the dead of night. You gently, gingerly land in the grass in the back of the manor. You would notice that creature to your left kind of has moved forward up on the side of the manor, up to what appears to be more wrought iron fence. So this back garden area appears to be contained within itself. It has its own doorways. So you see there are behind you, or depending on where you jumped in, you would see that there are those wrought iron gates on the three sides of this back courtyard or this back garden. And then wrought iron fences up to the both sides next to the manor, kind of self-containing it. Those don't look particularly well reinforced or anything like that. They just look like they keep this space kind of self-contained. The manor itself appears to be 3 stories tall, with a stone exterior, and a few balconies on the 3rd story. You only see the one monster right now.
Right, let's go around. Slowly make our way around the perimeter.
Looks like this.
Ooh, it's not in focus, but I can see the antlers. It's fine. There you go.
I know. I just wanted to do that.
Yeah, so I hold on to a tuft of Timber's fur as we sneak along, so we don't lose each other.
And
Good call.
I'm keeping an eye out for just anything of note other than like the balconies, like purple flowers, and we're just gonna keep going around and try our best to avoid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Give me
monster
perception
and
checks
yeah.
or investigation, because you are invisible. You could get pretty close to the bush.
I will do
side.
perception.
Okay.
Take investigation. Thank you, Sean.
Because your stealth checks are so high, I'll allow investigation also.
Nat 20, baby.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I got a 22 also on my perception. But
Okay. Nat 20 and a 22 perception. A few different things you would notice. One, you would notice, let's see, Wiswick, you would be able to find, hugging the manor itself is a lot of gardening that has been unkept for a long time. You would notice overgrowths of grass, some flowers, and some other plant life being strangled by weeds, and you would notice a unkept purple flowered bush at a certain point. With a nat 20 investigation, you would also see behind it the bars of a basement window. Timber, you would be less. You would notice the flowers as well with the 22. You would also notice the creature start to move back on its patrol away from the wrought iron gate, getting closer to you all. And you would hear, with your perception, another creature on the other side of the building. And you would see as they move, you would see this sort of every time they take a step, it looks like this, like it shakes their the wooden portions of their armor and body, and just like this pollen comes off of it. Because you can see now that they are, while there's a lot of undead flesh that makes up their bodies, there is some hints of that root, rock, and bone undead constructs that you've seen before. There has been some kind of infusion of two different types of undead creatures, Pale Covenants type and the more druidic type you've all seen in the past.
I grab Wiswick and... Dude, is that the spore? Did the spores undead look like that? Do you remember? Back in Legend set?
Yeah, we've seen it more recently as well. You know, it's strange, but it must be some sort of similar form. They must have combined, you know, magics in order to create such a terrible monstrosity. But look over there,
And I direct his head with my hands towards the flowers.
I'm like, that's what I saw in my vision.
Ooh, okay. Now, let's slowly make our way over there. Let's just being careful of their patrol. Wiswick and I would like to make our way over to that window.
Okay. Give me stealth checks again.
Will do.
Same thing, advantage and plus 10. While you're making those stealth checks, I do want to check in real quick with Kieran and Katya. So you two are, at this point, I'd say this is the point when you're like leaving Auric's estate. You've discovered what you discovered and you're heading to go catch up with them. What would you like to do?
Walking out of the front door, Kieran's gonna quickly lift up his cloak that he's got, revealing Jet to the camera, and whispering down to it, or to him. Kieran will go, "All right, Jet, I need you to go back to Wiswick and let him know that Yexarid is definitely our target, and he should be very, very careful, as our counselor friend has been killed. Try not to give them away if they're stealthing as well."
With a few devilish and fiendish squeaks. I don't know what that sounds like. Like, cheep, cheep, cheep. But like,
Like a little mouse.
cheep, cheep, cheep. Cheep, 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 cheep. He flutters off. The two of you then are heading down the main street that leads through the old quarters towards Yexarid's manor. It's not hard to see the torchlight of the tower since it is so tall up in the sky, and there's not as much branch over cover here. You do know what direction to head in. As you're moving through the streets, I'd say you get about halfway there. Are you planning on stealthing or anything like that?
I want to grab Kieran by the arm for a second. What is the plan here? What are we doing? Are we just walking up to the front door? Are we trying to be sneaky? What are we doing?
Well, Wiswick and Kaze are already there scouting out the area, so I hope that they haven't been caught yet, and they'll have some kind of ambush of sorts set up. As for us, well, I like to be straight and direct with my foes. I plan on knocking on the front door and confronting this Yexarid directly. Tell me, Cobalt Hunter, are you more of a stealthy type, or do you go in guns a-blazing, as they say?
I can be stealthy, but I can also go in guns a-blazing. I do both.
Versatile, like a friend of mine. Good.
All right. So you two are heading unstealth just straight to the front door. Great. As you're moving through, You head through, and as you're about halfway through, there's like an alleyway, and you see an entire like barrel just absolutely collapses down in front of you and shatters into pieces as like the water, the fresh water that was in it, just splashes to the ground, and you see under the ruins of all of the wood of this barrel is your small little Axel-born friend Lalop, as he's just like, "Oh, oh, oh." Oh,
What are you
hey!
doing here?
Oh, I was hiding in the barrel to listen, like Mr. Curon said to do. I was spying.
And
Very good.
and fell over.
Oh, you see, like there was a big bug that landed in the top, and I was like, So I swam up to the top, and these things happen. What are you two doing?
We're on a job, Lalip.
I learned some things.
Oh, very good. Yes, come here. And actually, Kieran's gonna go more into the alleyway with him.
I'll stand, like, I'll let them talk and I'll keep an eye on the. I'll keep watch.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check, Katya. As you pull him into the corner, and he kind of like quiets down now. Like the alleyway is where he's quiet. He's loud on the streets. Oh well, you see, I saw some suspicious-looking people. You told me to look for suspicious people, symbols of the Pale Covenant. Well, I saw some folks leaving the city, the town. They were heading to the east. They were off the road. I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't catch them because I was looking for them. I was just kind of doing my own thing. And they were carrying a body, it looked like. One of them was a tabaxi. One of them was a dragonborn lady.
What
Um,
color do you recall was the dragonborn woman?
white dragonborn.
Kieran's gonna look back over his shoulder at Katya and make sure that she heard that.
I got a 15 on my perception.
I mean, yeah, you would definitely still be able to hear their conversation. They're not too far from you. The streets are empty, as you kind of have known in the past when you've been out. You've been like walking home from the mud house late at night. The streets tend to be really empty at night since the Pale Covenant's presence.
Okay. I'll just give a nod to Kieran.
But yeah, I was just about to head over to do some more spying on Yexarid. Because I thought, I don't mean to judge, but White Dragonborn.
Yes, exactly. We've come to find in our investigations that it seems Yexarid is closely tied with the Pale Covenant here, which is poor news. Do you know of anyone in town that is vehemently against the Pale Covenant that might lend us aid, Lollop?
I might be able to find some people if you need me to. I know old Auric, he really hates that situation.
Unfortunately, I believe Counselor Auric is no longer of this world.
That was the body you saw them carrying.
Most likely, yes.
Oh no.
And it seems the other council members may be in on this scheme of some sort.
Okay, okay, all right, that's a lot. Oh,
I think it would be safer, Lollop, if you stay around here and let us deal with the estate. We've already got some friends up there, and we're going to help.
yeah, well, okay. All right, I'll go back to the Laughing Serpent and see if I can find anyone to help.
Actually, the retainers of Oriel, are
Yeah.
they combat trained, or are they more?
You imagine that they have a basic combat training to go on such a quest with Oriel. They didn't. I'm sure he picked retainers who at least can hold a sword and shield or fire a bow or a crossbow.
Right. So Kieran is going to take out 10 gold, as I believe Lollop is promised, and hand it to him and go, "My little friend, I greatly appreciate the help you've given us in this information. When you get back to the Laughing Serpent, the 2 others that came with us, whose
Rosen
names
and
I...
Gil.
Rosen and Gil.
Rosen and Gil. Let them know that we are at Yexarid's estate and that Oriel is being held captive there. If they can, come with support. But you should remain safe."
Oh, okay. All right. And you see he'll kind of start walking away, and then kind of stop next to you, Katya, and he'll actually just kind of like grab your hand for a second and squeeze it. It's slick, but it's. He looks up at you with kind of a worried expression on his face. You're gonna be all right, right?
Of course. And you are too, right? Maybe ignore the bugs when they come into the barrel. That's what makes a very good sneaker.
That's
Stealther.
a good point.
You did well.
All right.
Well done.
All right. I'll see you soon
I'll see you soon.
at the Mud House. We'll
And-
celebrate your victory.
Okay. Sounds. Yep.
And he
See you
hugs
later.
you.
Aw.
And you're very tall, and he's very short. So he's basically hugging your knees.
I'll kind of stiffen for a moment and then reach down and just pat his head. Thank you, Lola.
Slick.
All right, get going. We don't. Time is of the essence here.
You see Lollop kind of stops for a moment as he runs halfway down the street, plops halfway down the street, and then stops and plops back towards you. And you see he's kind of rushing through his bags and stuff, and he pulls out this looks like a jug of rum, and he pours it out on the street.
What are you doing?
Hold up. And you see just sort of starts to. You see just sort of bubbles foam up at his lips, and he just sort of boop, shoots these bubbles out that just sort of kind of pours them into the bottle. Just sort of, he's essentially using a bubble beam attack, one might call it in Pokemon terms. He's just sort of bringing up this sort of this substance. He fills the rum container with it. In case of emergencies, it has regenerative properties.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Maybe you lead with that next time. Thank you.
And you see he immediately dashes off and disappears into the mist.
Into the mist.
Into the mist.
All right. So, cutting back to the other 2, as you 2 get close to the opening, and the beast passes behind you, and you successfully do not get noticed by it because it roll of 4. You would get a ping in your head, Wiswick, immediately when Jet is within 100 feet of you, letting you know that Kieran and Scarlet are on their.
Oh no! Oh no!
Kieran and Katya, I'm so sorry, are on their way. Yexarid's there. The mark. He's dangerous. Exactly what Kieran said before. Be very, very careful, but Yexarid is the person to stop. You're muted.
I command Jet to wait nearby the entrance and let me know when telepathically when Curon shows up. If and when.
Easy enough to do. Okay. What do the two of you proceed though now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we try to get to that window and take a look inside.
Once the monster has passed, the little eye closes, and you can easily sneak up to the window. Looking in, you can see, or looking at the exterior of it, there are bars on it, and then kind of an old glass. Or actually, no, there's no glass window because it's open, because that's how the pollen was getting in. There's just bars. Looking inside, it's pitch black in there.
Can we see anything in dim light?
Yes, because you both have dark vision, so you
Superior dark vision.
Yes, you would see the outline, kind of the vague outline of Oriel sitting on the laying on one of the beds, and then you'd see the vague outline of another humanoid on a bed across from him. You could definitely recognize Oriel. You don't recognize the other person.
Question, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is possible, but if I'm not doing it, but if I were to mage hand, can I spawn the mage hand through the window? Since I can see it, but it's blocked by something physical. Am I able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You only need vision to summon the mage hand.
Right. Okay.
It would also break your invisibility.
Correct. That's why I said I'm
That's
not
it.
doing it. I could I can tap him awake, maybe, or
I can get us through this wall, but
I mean
if we cast spells, we're gonna get revealed.
I could get in there. I could blink inside there.
You quickly blink inside there. If you want me to open up the wall, give me the sound. Try and wake him up and tell him we're here to save him.
Okay. It's not a spell. I'm gonna blink inside.
It's true.
Oh, well then him giving me a sign isn't gonna work.
Yes. I'll tap you on the shoulder with my mage hand. Just
Fair enough. Well, the mage hand will
reveal me.
break your
But
invisibility.
yes,
so
but
it's going out
yeah,
anyway.
Timur doesn't
It
care.
all
He's going
doesn't
inside. Yeah.
Invisibility again anyway for him. So it's fine.
Okay, okay. All right, so easy enough. You immediately, through your Shadow Monk ability, blink in there. You're in the middle of the room. It smells real bad in there. Like a corpse.
Like dead body. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Timber's immediately going to just grab Oriel and try to shake him awake. Oriel,
Okay.
Clay.
It takes a few minutes, but in a somewhat weakened state, you can tell he opens his eyes and he takes in a deep, sharp breath. He's like, oh. Like he's hitting his head like he was clearly probably whacked to the back of the head to not been knocked unconscious. Timber, is that you?
Yes.
Can't see a damn thing.
Oh. I don't have anything to help that. At least not right now. Where's Kieran? You've been knocked out. You're in the basement, I believe, of Yexarid's estate. We need to get you out of here.
Odds.
They're working with the Pale Covenant.
Shouldn't have come here. Or how do we get out? How did you get in?
That window right over there.
He looks. It's the only thing he can see. Dim light coming through. There's bars.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, we need to get you out of here, which we cannot take that way.
What's that smell?
It smells like a rotting corpse. Probably that dead body next to you.
He's out of here. We do that.
Yes. Now, Sean, is there any Is there any like doors in this room? There's obviously doors in this room, right?
Yes, there's one door. That is, if you're looking over him, it's to your left at the end of the room.
Okay.
And you're like pretty deep down. Like this room is like a good at least 20 feet deep from the window that you came through.
Okay.
But there is a door that looks like a reinforced wooden door that has one of those little sliding doors with bars that you look through.
Okay. Okay. Timber's going to walk over. Timber's still invisible, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, I know. He can't see anything anyway, so
Yeah,
he's just hearing your
right.
voice, and that's how he recognized you.
All right. Hold on. Timber's. Can I check the door? Is it locked?
Door is locked.
Okay.
Oriel whispers over to you. Bring some light in here, or are we being watched?
Do not. Don't cast any light yet. It hinders my mobility. Give me 1 second, Oriel. And I'm gonna blink back to Wiswick.
Okay. Easy enough to do.
Yeah. Visik, Governor Oriel is, he's awake. Now, we need to get him out. What do you suppose we do? There is a door in there, but it's locked. We can make a hole in the wall, but then we have to deal with getting him out of here with these monsters walking around.
At the mention of monsters, you do hear the footsteps of the monsters patrol coming back over here. So I need you guys to make stealth checks again. Also, it's at this point that Kieran and Katya would reach the front gate.
And I would hear that from Jet.
Yeah, Jet would let you know. The two of you would see it's a wrought iron front gate. You would have noticed the small ones on the back exterior that lead into the garden area. You would also notice that the street here is abnormally dark because they put the torches out in the streets. But you get to the front gate and there are hanging braziers at the front gate. You look through and it's actually the courtyard itself is well lit. You would see at the front gate as you're approaching, and you can approach from a distance if you'd like. There are two guards there. One that is a dragonborn, and the other is a tabaxi. They are just sort of milling about next to the gate. They don't look like they're overwhelmingly focused, but they are kind of just manning the gate right now. You'd see there's a path that leads up the center of the courtyard. There's a fountain in the middle of it. There's a stable, and there's looks to be a workshop in the courtyard. And then on the left side of the courtyard from your angle is that large tower looming up. I'd say, Kieran, you would notice that there are like humanoid shapes moving around at the top in a patrol, likely some crossbowmen. And then directly past the fountain is the entrance, the double-doored entrance to the manor itself. That you can see is 3 stories tall, and you can see the 2 long wrought iron fences that lead to the garden area. Cool.
Is this them or us? I don't know
That's
anymore.
them. That's them.
Okay.
I'm describing what they see.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like who should go first?
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
who's-
We're gonna go with them real quick. But
Perfect.
let me get your stealth checks, so you guys have a second to think about how you're gonna deal with Oriel.
34.
What'd you get, Wisbick?
Stealth check. I got a 10 plus 10 is 20.
Good thing for that. Plus 10. You are not seen.
So what are you planning on saying when they open the door? What is the
I
plan?
hadn't gotten that far yet.
Well,
Do you
I
have any
think-
ideas?
I mean, I had one. I don't know how much weight it will hold, but I could say that I had the Xeris gave me a job and told me to come find Yexarid up here to get more details, and you're coming with me.
That's much better than what I had. Let's go with that. Because I was going to go in there and say that we were looking for Auric, our friend Oriel, and that we had come to speak with the dead. So,
Better that we don't show all of our cards at once, yes?
I think that's more tactful, you're right.
Okay.
I'm down.
However, and then Kieran's just going to cast a little guidance on Katya, in case we need to do some persuasion checks or deception.
Yeah. So you can easily enough walk up to the gates. There's no doorbell, unfortunately. But there is the two guards there. And as you're approaching, you see they kind of like, one of them spots you first, the Dragonborn spots you first, and kind of like taps the Tabaxi in the arm to get serious. You see they, from behind the walls, they both pull out pikes that they're holding up. And they come up to the wall. They're not aggressively holding the pikes, they're just holding them like quarterstabs right now. And the Tabaxi would shout out to the two of you as you approach. Hey, you two. What are you doing out so late and approaching Yexarid's manor?
Good evening. This is my friend Kieran. You know who I am, hopefully. And
Yes. Katya.
that is it. I was speaking with Counselor Yexarid earlier today, and she said that there is a job for me and that I needed to come here to get all of the details. So that is what we are doing here.
Counselor Yexarid sent you.
She did. I can go get a note or something if he wants me to, but
Give me a deception check.
I'm good at these at all.
Do you want
With
Kieran,
a
if you want to,
D4.
Kieran, if there's something you want to say right now to give her advantage, go for it. Don't roll yet, Katya.
By the light of Ilivania.
I'm gonna allow you to get advantage, depending on what he says. No, I'm just kidding. You're gonna get advantage, but whatever you want to say to give that help action.
What if I just like yelled at them? You know,
Okay, then I would give her disadvantage.
No, Kieran will just say, the councilwoman seemed quite impatient. I don't know if you've dealt with her recently, but with the current situation, things need to go a little faster, it seems.
Very nice.
With advantage. And you've guidance, so it's actually D4. If you want to use it for this.
Okay. Yeah, I am still gonna use it just to be safe.
I will roll an insight check for this guard.
18 total.
Pretty good for a -2.
That's pretty good for my. Yeah, I was like, whew. You see, sorry. The Tabaxi looks to the Dragonborn, who kind of just sort of like does that and kind of sits back down, like almost disarming himself against this as the Tabaxi looks and goes, Xeris. She's got quite the quarterstaff up her ass.
That she does. I'm just hopefully she's thankful it's not my spear.
Oh.
All right, well, I like that. I always thought that you'd be drunk at this hour, back at the mud house.
I would like to be, but I need all the work I can get, so that is why I'm here. Can we go in and get the details, please?
Here's to that. I can let you in, and he can watch you while I go and speak to Counselor Yexarid about your arrival.
We don't
She,
see watching, but I understand.
He comes stepping forward. You got that by 1 point. You rolled to 17. All right, then you see the Tabaxi leans their pike against the wall, like partially like you being a citizen of this town is somewhat lessering their guard, especially one that they don't particularly look at as someone who's like part of the political games. He comes up and he pulls a key out from his vest and starts to unlock the door and pull the chains off of the gate. And and opens it up for you.
Thank you. Kiran, after you.
Gentlemen, Kieran says, nodding with his head, and
Yeah, Kuran, you also would notice that the humanoids you saw patrolling the tower in one of the balconies, the ring balconies. By the way, this tower is probably 150 feet tall, and it has 2 balconies. It's got the top balcony, which is probably the main hall of the tower, and then it has a lower balcony by one of the doorways where you see these patrolmen. They stop, and they're just watching now in the courtyard as you've been entered. The tabaxi leaves you with the Dragonborn, saying, I will go and speak to Master Yexarid if he is able to meet with you tonight. You may need to wait till the morning, but we will see. And he walks up the path to the main manor, leaving you alone with this Dragonborn.
Long night.
Always.
I hear that. I'd much rather be at the mud house right now, if I'm being honest.
Aye. Maybe not the mud house.
Maybe not the mud house. I'd start at the serpent.
Okay. Is there anything you want to do, Kieran?
there's a lot of things I want to do.
I know.
And you know what Kieran's gonna do? He's gonna walk up to this Dragonborn and like kind of patting him on the shoulder. Is going to cast Fast Friends.
Ooh.
So I need him to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. He rolled a 7.
Okay. So that fails my DC of 18.
I'm just gonna say I haven't rolled anything higher than a 5 tonight. Well, except for that 17.
I was about to say.
Yeah. But every other roll has been 5. All right. What does Fast Friends do?
So for the next hour, as long as I maintain concentration, this humanoid is charmed by me, and it must undertake any service or activities I ask of it in a friendly manner to the best of its ability. It can't be a thing that would cause like self-harm or anything like that.
Self-harm, yeah. All right. What do you say to this Dragonborn as part of the Fast Friends spell?
So Kieran pats him on the shoulder and goes, you know, my friend, I think you've deserved a night off. Why don't you get out of here? Go off to the Laughing Tavern.
The laughing serpent.
That too.
I agree. We work hard.
You know, I do deserve a break.
Sure do.
You see, Yexarid overworks us all in the name of self-sufficiency.
It's not very self-sufficient if the people who are working there don't get their break.
Right.
That's
Real
right.
quick, has he ever mentioned anything about a pale covenant?
Okay, I'm just looking at the spell to see how the charmed effect works for this. Tasks plural. So I will.
Yeah.
I'll allow that to continue.
Then
You see, he kind of looks around. He distinctly and instinctively trusts you.
Are you two all right? You understand the workers' plight? I ain't heard about mentions of the Pale Covenant, but
He points across the courtyard to the wrought iron gate and fences of the garden.
but we ain't allowed in there. And I see the same woman going in and out of there. White Dragonborn. If you ask me, I don't think Yexarid's sister's dead. Whilst I see a white Dragonborn lady walking about his estate freely after he made such a big deal about protection and told us guards and be on your lookout and don't let anybody in unless they got good cause. And if we were listening to orders, which we almost would have after they fired Melstress, we'd have stabbed you right through the gate as soon as we thought you were suspicious.
Well,
You-
very glad that you didn't.
Think we were suspicious?
Thankfully, no. You a little bit. Didn't know you. That's before you spoke. Learned you're good people.
The
Yes.
best.
If our friend here caught you, well, I say friend now. It wasn't with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I am an
Mighty
excellent
different.
judge of character.
Mighty different encounter. Truthfully, we thought she was drunk coming up here. But perhaps I've learned not to rely on reputation. Oh, maybe I do.
Oh.
All right, well. Is there anywhere you need to go before I leave?
Actually, do you mind taking us to the front door so your friends up there understand we're good people?
Yeah, I don't want them to shoot you as soon as I leave, because they're woods. This way.
That, yeah, makes sense. I didn't thought of that originally.
And this just Dragonborn, who's now enamored with you, walks you up. He grabs his pike and walks you up to the front door. And you see he opens the front gates, deposits you in there. Just, all right, well then, I'm off to the tavern.
Have one on me.
Hey, pull one out for you if you come after your meeting.
And quickly, what was your name, friend? Just so I can use it.
Bev.
Bev. Well, Bev.
Bev, your daughter.
Bev, your daughter. Eudora. sorry.
Eudora.
My apologies, Bev. Have a good night then. And Kieran will look inside the hall he's in and see what he can find. Yeah.
It's very dark in here. Now that you're inside, you can tell that it's not 3 stories fully, and that this great chamber is more of a mezzanine with balconies that lead to the top floors, with a massive, beautiful staircase in the front. There's a big statue of a dragonborn in the middle with a plaque. Looks quite old, so you know it's not of Yexarid, but probably of one of his ancestors. There is beautiful art all over the walls that it seems to have been collected, almost like a very old-fashioned, like French salon museum, where the art is not like, hey, all the art's at eye level. It's like, no, like the art goes all the way to the ceiling. It's more of a mosaic of art. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I know you're getting further into the thing. I wanted to try sending a message to Kieran when I
Sure.
knew where he was. So I
Okay.
just didn't want you to
Yeah,
get too
let's-
far ahead of that.
Good call. Let's check back with you all. Because, yeah. All right. So the two of you, the last thing was that you were deciding what to do with Oriel. You know that Kieran's at the entrance. What would the two of you like to do at this point?
Do you want to Can you get inside, Zik?
Yeah, I think we've gotta work it out. I'm gonna let Kieran know our situation, and we'll work it from there. Okay?
Do you want to get inside first, so that you don't get revealed when you cast Sending? Or, I don't know
Look,
how you're
the
about.
monster just passed. If there's ever time for me to cast message, I have to do it now while I still have a line of sight of where he's gonna be. Otherwise, something's gonna block me.
Okay, go. Do it.
All right, so I cast message towards the entrance of the thing, targeting Kieran,
Definitely.
and I, after that, immediately use a bonus action to Misty Step into the room.
Excellent.
Down
All right, what do
below.
you send to Kieran?
I say something along the lines of,
We found, the governor, and we're in the basement. Gonna try and escape, stealthily. Don't make any noise. If Jet is watching the front door, we're gonna try and escape through there.
Kieran, I'll say you get this message as Bev is leading you up to the main gate, so you can respond before you enter into the main hall.
All right, so he gets this message, and then Kieran, turning to like have a little whisper to himself, will go,
it's all telekinetic,
"Oh,
I
okay."
think.
Pavic.
Telepathic, sorry.
He'll pick up
Telekinetic.
the building. He'll go, "Sounds good. Good work, Wiswick. We are entering the front door now. So we'll meet you halfway, and we'll deal with this pale covenant here."
Excellent. So, Wiswick, you get that while you're in Oriel's cell.
A knot rolls in, forms in Wiswick's stomach at the last mention of dealing with the Pale Covenant. Like, I just wanted to get out of here. Why is he gotta make things complicated?
Timber, do you want to blink inside?
Oh,
You saw
yeah.
Wiswick?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So
Immediately.
the two of you are now inside.
Mhm.
Oriel can't hear anything, see anything still, but he hears your footfalls. It's like, Kaze, Timber, are you back?
Yes, right here. Both Wiswick and I. Alright, we need Kieran and a mercenary we hired is they're inside the building.
What's the plan?
Get you out of here.
Wiswick tosses the key to that we got from Wallop to Timber.
Thank you.
Wait, do we have the key? We have the key.
Yeah, we
right?
have the key, we have the key, we
Kieran
have the
gave
key.
me the key.
Yeah.
So I toss you the key, and I take a quick glance at the corpse next to the thing. Like, I just check the pockets to see if there's any way to identify it.
Sure, give me an investigation check.
12 plus 9 is 21.
Excellent. So a few things that you can tell, even though it's dark, you're close up and you have superior dark vision. This is a Gwyn elf, and most likely the Gwyn representative that was supposed to be here. There are plenty of like magical reagents on them. But for the most part, like they were kind of killed at some point probably and tossed down here. Their throat is slit.
The representative that was supposed to be here, was that somebody who worked for Auric, or was that with...
So Oriel, remember in the very beginning, Oriel said, I'm going to go look for the Gwyn and representative because all of the towns within the Empire have some kind of representative there. And if you remember, Saravine said that the Gwyn representative left a month ago.
Okay, and the body looks like it's a month old, or does it look like it was
Yeah.
killed recently?
No, it looks rough. You can only really identify that it's a Gwyn elf because of there's still some of the ears left. And hasn't been kind of eaten away. They are quite rotted by this point. And you can also tell kind of from the clothes, you can see a tabard on it that has the 7-pointed star of the Gwyn Empire. And you'd find like a badge of sorts, like a pin.
Wiswick looks down at it and whispers, kind of just like softly to no one.
Sorry, guy. I can't bury you respectfully, but maybe I can get revenge for you.
And looks back towards Timber and says,
How's that door going? Coming.
First, Timber's going to try the key from the inside. I doubt I can. I don't think it's that kind of
Yeah,
lock.
there's no inside lock.
That's
no inside keyhole.
fine. I'm going to look through the keyhole and try to blink to the other side.
So what I'm gonna do is ask for a perception check.
You're damn right you will.
15 or higher, and you can make it through.
Okay.
Because the padlock is kind of in front of the keyhole.
I got a 22.
Excellent. Just
All
wanted to
right.
make it a little challenging.
Okay. All right. Fine. Yeah. Can't just be a
But
any,
you are able
any
to angle.
unopened door.
Yeah, exactly. You can get through almost any door with a keyhole. So you
Right,
look
and-
through.
he's still invisible,
Correct.
but I'm not, because
Yes.
I cast Misty Step. But I'm
Exactly.
still concentrating, so he's still invisible.
Correct. Good to know. Good to note that you're still concentrating. It's kind of thing like in a video game where you look at the keyhole and you have to move until you can see exactly what you need, and bam, you do make it to the other side. You get to the other side, and you notice you're at a spiral staircase, and you can see torchlight from the higher levels of the staircase.
Okay. I'm going to. There's just a padlock. You said.
It is just a padlock.
Can I try the key on the padlock?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You try the key in the padlock. It works.
Oh. Okay.
It actually does work.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Right. Well, I kind of forgot about the fact that you could just climb over the wall and blink anywhere you want. So I thought you'd have to get through the manor to get here.
Yeah. Going from the it's an inside job.
Yeah. The key. That's the thing though. Like if you had tried to like open one of those wrought iron fences with the key, it wouldn't work. The key was particularly for this. The Meltress had stolen it, but that's a whole other story.
I'm gonna hold on to the padlock actually and the key.
Clever. Wiswick, you do hear the door, the key padlock undo, and the door open. And you would be able to see like dim light now bleeds in from the torchlight. There's a silhouette of Timber there. Oh no, no, you're still invisible.
I grab the partially blind Oriel's hand, and I lead him to the door. And when I get to the door, I grab Timber's hand, and I recast invisibility to make us all invisible.
Excellent. Oriel can see now, so he sees you do this. What would the three of you like to do now?
Timber with Vizic, hold on to my fur, and I'm going to
Grab
keep.
his tail.
I'm going to keep.
Wait, does he have a tail? I don't know yet.
He does.
Yeah,
Wait, do you?
yeah. That's why I just was like, wait, no, I don't have a tail in hybrid form.
Your mini has a tail.
My-
which I think.
Oh,
you
then
don't.
I have a tail. Then I have a tail.
Okay, yeah.
Then I have a tail. I have a tail. I couldn't remember. I was like, does he have a tail? Yeah.
All right. So do
Anyway,
you start ascending the staircase?
yeah.
Do you want to do it stealthily?
Yes, I would like to.
Pass without trace is still up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Do I get advantage? Yes, I do, because I'm invisible.
Yep, because you're invisible.
Ooh, that's a 38.
It's 26 for Oriel. What'd you get, Wiswick?
I didn't even roll. I was looking through my spell slots. Advantage, because it's
Because we're invisible?
stone?
Yeah.
okay,
And stone.
and that. 17 plus 10 is 27.
Excellent. So you guys are quiet as the night as you ascend. You get to the top of the stairs, and you do notice that you're now in kind of like a guard's chambers where you see a set of bunk beds, a table, a keg, and you see one guard sitting on a stool, kind of like with a heavy crossbow across his legs that he's just kind of like leaning on top of it like this, kind of daydreaming.
Timber's
There's a
going.
door right next to him that leads probably into the manor proper.
Timber's going to lean over to Wiswick and just say, "Wait right here." And Timber's going to blink behind him and attempt to knock him out.
Excellent. So I'll say you don't need a stealth to get up to him because you can just blink right behind him. So give me a grapple check with advantage. If you'd like to keep him quiet while you do this.
Does grapple check needs to be athletics? Damn it. Okay. Oh, not terrible. 16.
Okay. He rolled an 11. So you very quickly get your hand over his mouth and grapple and pull him up. He drops the crossbow. And you can give an attack roll with advantage. If you succeed, you will knock him unconscious.
Okie dokie. Boop. That's a 26.
You lift him up, you're holding him, and you can feel like him struggling in your arms. And you kind of like hold him out, and then just bring the palm of your fist down, hit him back of the head, and he just goes limp in your body.
Yeah, I just lay him down softly.
And Alex gets a reveal.
Give me a stealth check.
I do.
And also give me a stealth check, not at advantage, but with the plus 10
Yes.
to lay him down quietly.
11. And knock him over to some chairs in his
Wait, plus
chair.
10, right? Because you have pass without a trace.
It is plus 10 still.
Oh, okay, so then it's 21.
Did you
Thank
roll
you.
a natural? Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it was a 2. It was a 2.
Okay.
21.
Right, so as far as you're concerned, no one has detected you. And you have laid this body down on the ground. You are no longer invisible. I'm going to check back in with the other two at this point. So you two are in this manor. You're in the great kind of hall center. You can see there are doors to your in the hall itself, the body of it. There's a door to the left and a door to the right, and then steps that lead up to the mezzanine, the two mezzanines that are the second and third floor. And then there's a big glass window in the back. Is there anything particular you'd like to do?
You want to go look around? I can stay here.
Are there any lights on?
There are dim torch sconces that you notice by the doors. There is an unlit chandelier in the middle of the room. And most of the light is moonlight coming through the back window. But there is dim torch light throughout.
Can I see any areas of like brighter torchlight coming from anywhere on the second or third floor? As if like there's someone in spaces around me.
Give me a perception check.
You want me? I'm gonna use advantage on this one. Oh, that was almost dual threes. 29.
Okay. You would notice that the brightest area of torchlight is coming from the second floor. On your right side, you would notice that there is, in that torchlight, you would see kind of like peeking around the corner of the vestibule you're in. You would notice there is a guard in front of a door there.
Motioning with his staff, Kieran will say to Katya, it appears to be a guard up on the second floor to the right there, in front of a well-lit, or better-lit door. That might be our best way forward.
Isn't talking to Yexarid?
Well, when I said I wished to speak with Yexarid, I think it was more to accuse him and see what his villain speech would be like. His monologue, as it were.
Well, yes, that is true. But that other guard went to tell him that we arrived. So I didn't know if there was something you wanted to look at quick before they come back.
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
That is fair.
As I said, I hadn't really thought this far. I fully intended to come through, simply state my position and see how the dice fell.
Uh, sorry. What was your stealth roll on that last roll again? Timber?
21, which was lower than what I rolled.
Yeah, and it's also lower than your passive.
Yeah, it's true.
You would notice, I'd say, at the end of your your perception and your conversation with Katya, it's not that you hear him dropping the like it's not like he 21 like somehow like you hear the pin noise of just like his belt hitting the ground as he lays him. It's more so that you see like the bodies moving in front of the torchlight that's in that room. And you would notice like a door that has just sort of a single window on it with bars. You would see like the flickering of the torchlight that looks like movement.
On the first floor.
Yes, it's in the back corner, back right corner. So you would have just noticed it when you peeked around the corner.
And I think I know where our friends are. Maybe it's best we meet up with them and go from there.
Well, I don't know how much time we have left before they come back and inform Yexarid of our arrival, unless we just decide that we were mistaken and we're leaving.
No, I don't plan to leave here until this issue is come to rest. And with that, Kieran will start to walk towards where he saw the flickering light.
Easily enough. Yeah, Timber. You're muted.
Thank you. After dropping the body, I imagine that Timber would immediately just like take a second to like listen to if anybody's like coming or like heard anything, and go against the wall, like to like the adjacent door.
I imagine that Kieran is just walking straight over there. So it sounds like someone's coming to investigate.
Oh yeah, no, Timber is against the wall, like ready to ambush this person.
Yeah, at the top of the stairs, Wiswick and Oriel are invisible, and they see you do that. And I imagine, what do you do, Wiswick?
Wiswick was probably like looking around for another set of keys, or like looking, like sifting carefully through a drawer, and as soon as he sees Timber getting ready, he just like fetal position, hands on head on the ground.
Even invisible?
Yeah, while
Yeah.
invisible.
Huron, you get up to the door and you can look in the window and you would see no one. Well,
would I see a body on the floor?
You would see a body on the floor.
Bodies at the floor.
Yeah, you would see a body on the floor.
This is the one elf, right?
No, this is the guard they just knocked out.
The guard, got it.
Is this like an open window with bars?
Yeah.
Kieran's just gonna press his body up against the door and whispering through the grate. Kaze, Wiswick, is that you in there?
You see Timber almost like he was very much so in the way that you're like watching like a movie and just like that person just comes out of the shadows that just you didn't see at all. You just see Timber like almost like he just came down from the ceiling. Just
Good God, Kieran. It scared the crap out of me. Yes, it is us.
One moment. Did Katya follow Kieran?
Not all the way, but I imagine she would have stepped and taken a couple of steps so that she could still hear you and talk to you.
This door, is it unlocked?
not from your side.
Timber will try to unlock it.
Yeah, Timber, you could definitely unlock it from this side with the it's unlockable on this side, yeah.
Can I listen for people coming?
Yeah, give me a perception check. With advantage, because it's for hearing. Because you got big elf ears.
Big ol' elf ears.
Big old elf ears.
Big
24.
old.
24, nice. You can hear that there are people talking in that room behind that guard. and you can start to hear footsteps coming towards the door of that structure.
And the room upstairs.
Yeah, where that one guard was upstairs, you can hear that there's someone walking back to the door from that room.
Okay. We need to get a move on.
In
Timber.
here quickly.
Sorry. I don't know. And then Timber opens the door for them.
Yeah. And Kieran will go in.
I guess I go in too.
Okay, so you're all in this room.
I would like
Alright,
to check the guards' pockets for any like keys or anything of note, and then
Yeah,
tie him up to something.
there's
That's-
a chair there you can tie him up to.
Yeah, perfect.
You find a set of keys. They have 3 keys on them. One that matches the key you had, and then 2 different keys.
I will take both of them.
Excellent.
Wiswick's gonna take all the bolts out of the giant heavy crossbow.
Okay.
So that way, if he does wake up, or if anybody comes in here, they won't have what they need.
Excellent. So as you all are hiding in here for a moment, I'd like you all to give me stealth checks. You do all still get +10 because Pass Without a Trace is still up.
Nice.
You would
How
hear
long has it been?
at this point, I'd say at least a half hour. A lot of this has been happening concurrently, so it feels longer than it actually would have been. You do hear the door open above you, and someone step out, single set of footsteps, and start to head back towards the stairs. Is there anything anyone would like to do, or are you just keeping quiet?
In a hushed tone with a 11 plus 10, so 21 stealth, Kieran will, bringing everyone together, not knowing that Wiswick or Oriel are even here, we'll go. All right, so here's what we have so far. Me and Katya entered through the front door by telling one of the guards first that we were here on business. One went in, left the other with us. I did some magic, and the other one let us in. There's a guard on the second floor above us that leads into a room where I believe we will find Yexarid, the council member that.
Somebody just left that room.
Oh, that must be the god, the tabaxi that we saw. The council member we had met with, Kaze, Auric, was killed. Did you find Oriel?
Oh no. Yes, he's right there with Wizik, right there.
Right where?
Pointing to nothing.
Wiswick's,
We're in-
They're
we're
both
invisible.
invisible.
Hold on, we're invisible.
Of course.
Wiswick's disembodied voice says,
Were you aware that those 2 giant monsters that were described are in the courtyard right now patrolling the place?
No, but that makes sense. I believe that the White Dragonborn is currently off the premise as she's dealing with. Lollop had said that he just saw them leaving, right? Not that they were returning.
Did not see them return. You only saw them
Okay.
with the body.
The White Dragonborn that was with those that attacked Ishtiak's husband is not on the premise currently, so we might have a bit of an advantage without her here.
Do you think she would go to this mansion, or do you think she would go to the tower? Or do you think we can intercept her?
The god said that he saw the White Dragonborn entering into the gardens behind the estate where they were not allowed.
Okay.
Oriel, what happened exactly with you?
Came here and I went to the consulate and I was simply looking for the Gwyn representative, who I now think is the unfortunate corpse underneath us right now. I think I asked Yexarid too many questions. I'd never seen someone more nervous in my life. And I just pushed too hard, I think. The tabaxi interjected. She said there was enough questions. And before I could react, I saw them looking behind me.
The next thing I knew, I was unconscious. It must have struck me in the back of the head. I have a painful headache right now. But Yexarid looked, to be truthful, frightened. Nervous. He seemed fine in the Counselor chamber. But then once we got here, he was... something was different. The tabaxi kept cutting him off when he would go too far into detail.
And maybe Yexarid is not our leading man, as it were.
I was just about to say it sounds like he's answering to somebody.
Well, how about we see if he'll answer to us?
Well, he's not in the mansion right now, but we know that whoever that cultist was that attacked Ishtiak's home is probably in that tower. So if we...
So just to clarify, Lollop saw the female dragonborn leaving Nephrodala, not leaving the manor into the tower. So the female white dragonborn is not
okay.
here.
Right.
Yexarid is here.
That makes sense.
So it seems like if we press Yexarid for information, we might be able to figure something out. But is it worth, risking our lives? Those monsters are outside, and we don't have a means of escape.
We don't need to escape. If they
You
come
want to
for
kill
us,
those things?
we will end them.
Oh,
I hunt
Oh.
monsters. That's my specialty.
We've got a monster hunter with us now, and we're more prepared than we were last time. Oriel, how are you feeling?
I don't think I could fight right now, but if I have some of my magic still, if something goes wrong, I can help, I can heal, I can do certain things.
That's good. Here, take this, and Kieran's going to give him the Arc Gauntlet.
Oh dear.
And say, if things start to look dicey, I'd suggest just using all the charges on it to eliminate our foes. But for now, if you remain invisible with Wiswick, that should give us an advantage should we encounter any foes.
I was
Speaking-
really just planning on doing reconnaissance. I didn't know we were going to siege the place. My
We're not
spells are a
sieging the
little...
place. We're within it, the walls already.
Look,
We're going to get
You're
our
still
answers.
talking about killing everyone inside.
I never said that. I said we're going to go speak with Yexarid, and if those creatures should appear, we'll deal with them.
I like this plan.
do we just wait? What do we do now?
Oh, I was going to go up if you guys want to sneak behind. They
I
won't be
imagine anyone
suspicious.
watching the door would have noticed the guard left the main hall. They walked past the door. They didn't see you, obviously,
tabaxi?
because you're the tabaxi. And you would notice it was the tabaxi. They have stepped outside. But that also doesn't give you that your time might be limited because the tabaxi might notice all of you gone and their guard
Yep.
mate gone.
Right. So,
Do you want me to go find them and say I was in the restroom or something?
nope.
And get
I
the
think
answer?
it's easy enough. There's one guard outside Yexarid's door. I can use some magic on him. He'll let us pass. And then I can use some more magic on Yexarid if need be, and we'll get the answers we seek.
I like your confidence.
Yvonne will watch over us.
I'll stay in the back. Let me know if you need anything.
Of course. Provide support if needed. But the less of us they see, the better, I think.
Correct.
I agree.
And with that, waiting a moment to see if anyone has anything else to say.
Wiswick just sighs audibly. It
That's the
just says-
spirit.
Disembodied sigh. And with that disembodied sigh, you all get ready to go into the main hall and upstairs. And that's where we're
Yeah.
going to take a break. Quick 5-minute break, folks. We'll be back a little bit after 9:10, and we will ascend the steps and see what our party can learn Yexarid. See you soon, folks. Bye. Welcome back, everyone, to Advantage in Paradise. We're back from our break. Our heroes have infiltrated the manor of the White Dragonborn Yexarid, who is one of the members of the Councilate of Nephrodala, and our main suspect in the Pale Covenant conspiracy. They are currently lodged in the guards' quarters, where they have knocked out the guard to the prison cell that Oriel was being kept in. And now they have a singular window to get up to Yexarid's room and talk to him. So, Wayward 5, Wayward 4.
Wayward
We gotta think
5
of a
with
new
Ori.
name. We
with
gotta have a
Oriel.
Oh, Oriel's here.
non-number-based
Yeah,
name.
he's our
A
fifth.
true Wayward 5. A true Wayward 5. What would you like to do?
We would like to head upstairs.
Is there anything you'd like to prepare before you head upstairs, I mean?
Oh. No.
Did I find anything inside of the room when I was just rummaging around?
There's a keg of ale and some rations, and yeah, it's kind of like a little office for the guards, more so in like the sleeping room for like the guards who are off their shift but don't want to go home.
Timber grabs the crossbow and gives it to Oriel. Says, "If you don't have anything, here you go."
That's a good call, actually. That's true because Oriel doesn't have his armor or his sword or anything.
He does have an arc gauntlet.
He does have an arc gauntlet and a heavy
Right.
crossbow now.
I gave him the bullets.
Perfect. That's good to know, actually, because otherwise he'd just have that.
Yeah.
And his fists. All right, so who is like? What's the marching order here? Because I know some of you said you're going to stay behind. Some of you are still invisible. What's the marching order here?
I think it's me and Kieran out front, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Timber's just gonna stay out of sight, unless they
Okay.
have clear. Nobody's around.
Great. That's particularly what I wanted to know what Timber was doing because I know you said stay behind, but I was like, wait, are you gonna stealth? Are you gonna invisible again?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're
he's-
gonna kinda
he's-
stealthily behind.
Exactly.
So
Cool.
so Wiswick's going to be with Kieran and Katya, but he's going to be using his method that he already established with Timber to help him stealth around. So if there's if somebody's coming and he needs to hide, I'm gonna make a mark on the wall. Like I'm just whispering this all to you, Timber. Like
X means you hide. O means stick closer, or like they're coming from behind you.
and like I'm basically just gonna be like his eyes around the corner.
Great. All right. So then in that case, I'll need Timber to give me a stealth check. Oriel and Wiswick, you guys are fine because you're invisible, and they see people walking, so they're not gonna suspect if you make a few noises here and there. Timber, what'd you get?
23.
You are pretty stealthed.
Okay.
So, the two of you, though, what's your approach? Because you're gonna essentially you got to walk up the stairs to the third staircase and go up and around the mezzanine. So they'll see you coming from pretty far away. So I imagine you want to say something as you're approaching.
Do you want me to just say that we're looking for Yexarid? We've been waiting for a long time and nobody's come to get us yet.
I think that's a good idea. And if they try to stop us, I've got a backup plan.
All right, let's go.
All right. So as you're walking up the stairs and you get to the top, you see the guard kind of turns and grabs their own pike and starts to walk towards you quickly. What do you say?
I have my spear. I'm mirroring him. We've come here to see Counselor Yexarid, and we've been waiting for a very long time, and it's rather rude, actually. So, can we see him now?
Okay. I'm gonna give you advantage on a persuasion roll because you're not lying, and that's kind of true. And the other guard left, so feasibly you'd be sent back in. It's just a matter of not being suspicious at all. It's not a high DC.
But we are going to be allowed to be going.
Okay.
I mean, that's the
alright.
thing is like I was like, well, once you started to say how you're approaching, I was like, well, that's kind of just what this guard is expecting to happen.
Right.
Right.
It's just a matter of you got here pretty quickly, so he might be like, how did you get here so quick? Uh,
14.
14. All right, so the guard kind of meets you halfway through and kind of looks at the two of you. He seems to think for a moment, like he's adding up like minutes in his head. All right. You'll have to leave your weapons here.
Fine.
And he kind of reaches his hand out to take your spear
I think
And-
to myself, I don't need it anyway.
and your staff.
Huron is leaning heavily on his staff.
You wouldn't take it from an old man, would you?
My old bones just don't quite carry me the way they used to.
Huron, give me a persuasion roll with advantage.
Ooh, thank you.
Because while normally I'd be like, okay, the staff is a broken moon hanging from.
Oh yeah. So that's 12.
Like, it's decorations.
I'm gonna roll for this.
That makes sense.
We need to do an insight check for him. He has a 0 modifier.
Gasp. The odds are in our favor.
Technically.
Technically.
But Sean was rolling bad before, so...
Well, I'm also using D&D Beyond because my dice tray is downstairs.
Oh.
Actually, no, I got it. I just didn't bring it up here. I guess. So let me roll on a real dice. He looks at you and grimaces. And then looks at you, Katya, and can see you kind of nodding in agreement that he... Fair enough. Right this way.
Thank you. It's about time.
Huron looks at Katya and gives her a little wink.
I was just gonna say... You bastard. You wink.
You make
At
a great
Katya.
team.
That way in Lord of the Rings, I always looked and I was like, that's Ian McKellen winking right now, not Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, where does one end and the other begin?
Exactly. True. You get to the door and the guard just kind of stands to the opposite side of you. The door is unlocked. He lets you open it yourselves. More importantly right now is Kaze, Wiswick, and Oriel. How are you following them in? Because this guard is probably going to close the door after they go in.
But I have to choose in or out, essentially. 'Cause
You can
if-
stay outside if you want, but also for Curon and Katya, you two, he's letting you let yourselves in. So if you want to do anything to try to help them get in,
Oops,
I was gonna
my shoelace is untied.
I was gonna say, is there artwork
Is that
over
actually what you
this
do?
area?
Yeah, that's actually what I do. I open the door. Ah, fuck. I broke the shoelace and it just won't stay tied. Hold on.
deception check with advantage.
Charisma. And tonight.
None of us are.
15.
Sean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn into a wolf.
Are you?
Well, I'm around the corner, so nobody can
Is
see
that a
me.
question or?
I'm gonna say that's an action though.
Right.
Oh, you're not invisible.
No.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna turn
Sorry, I
into. I'm
thought some of my brain went. You were invisible.
Yeah, no. So I can't get there. I'm gonna turn into a wolf and come around the corner really happily to see Katya.
You see the guard Is this your
God.
mutt?
Yes, yes, it is. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you about him. Yes, come here, Kaze. Come here.
The Yexarid does not like dogs.
Oh, but look at him. How can he not like that face?
He's a good boy.
He's a very good boy. He is He is my support animal. You wouldn't deny that, would you?
Deception check with advantage. He didn't see that your shoelaces aren't broken. But I'll give you advantage because the two of them are helping you with this, and the dog is
Natural
Roll
20!
So 18.
Oh,
You see the guard is looking at you all like in absolute disbelief. He expected to have a boring night. You see his head was cocked, and then he kind of straightens out, and you see him come over and immediately bend down, take a knee, and start petting Timber and fluffing his fluff.
What did I tell you? He's not harmful at all.
He is a good boy.
you all hear a strange smacking noise that could only be an invisible facepalm.
He reminds me of the dog I had in my home as a child. He's completely distracted right now. If
I was
any
gonna say,
invisible people want to
Kieran
get...
is
Yeah, I'm getting
towards
through.
the doorway.
Yeah. Oriel will follow. You're a good boy. And you see he pulls a little like beef jerky out of his pack and says, he kind of holds it up and says, "Sit." Oh, you're a very good boy. Roll over.
He knows a lot.
And he gives you the beef jerky. I never thought I'd be issuing dog commands. I guess I did, because there's a dog in the party. But your invisible friends have successfully moved in. The guard is no longer questioning Katya's support dog. You can all step in.
Thank you, friend.
Oriel and Wiswick would see this first, because the rest of you are dealing with the guard outside. But the rest of you would very quickly join them, obviously. Wiswick, you look inside, and for a second you freeze entirely, and that knot in your stomach twists even greater. As you see, this room is so dimly lit. There's just torchlight that is just lighting Yexarid's face as he sits at his desk. Curtains are drawn in all the windows. You can see this white dragonborn face. Tendrils off the back, very tight, dark green robes on him, kind of like Littlefinger's robes in Game of Thrones, the way they're like tight across the chest and then fan out at the bottom. But that's not what twists your stomach. What twists your stomach is with your superior dark vision. You can see in the darkness behind him the shape of two raven skull masks and spiked antlers as two of these behemoth undead creatures flank him in the dark behind him. So dark that someone without superior dark vision would not see them. You have 1 second before everyone else joins you.
I literally, I already had my pen in hand because I was giving, I was like drawing hints to what's called timber on the walls.
Yeah.
And I just, whoever's closest or looking at a wall, I just make a big exclamation point.
Bring. The eye opens. The rest of you step inside. I think all of you have dark vision.
Yeah.
So you all see these like very dim gray silhouettes of this creature standing behind Yexarid in the dark. As he's sitting there, and all you can really see of him, you see his silhouette. The only part that's really lit is his chest and his face.
How big is this room?
It's pretty large because this is his main office. So I'd say it's kind of it's got like maybe 5 feet of a vestibule, and then it opens up to a round room that's probably honestly like across the center, probably like 40 feet, 20-foot diameter room. He's at a table in the center with behind him, kind of like not the full half circle, but part of the half circle behind him would normally be like a balcony, but all the curtains have been drawn on it. The walls are bookshelves around him. He has his desk in the center, and then you see there is a unlit fireplace on one side, and then just kind of and with a lounge area, and then you see another area that has kind of a study area. Center of the room is empty, except for large carpeting and whatnot, furs all over the ground. Probably about 20-foot tall room. So these creatures are taking up they're taking up more, like almost half the height of the room. But they're perfectly still. The only thing you would notice is that out of the darkness occasionally drifts these spores and pollen.
I would like to try to get around so I'm not next to the party. Like maybe I head towards the fireplace area section, and I'm just ready for combat immediately. Like I'm just keeping myself invisible so that way if they charge at my friends, I can attack them from behind essentially.
Okay. The rest of you, though, as you've entered as actual people entering, I imagine Timber is next to Katya. Katya, I will say there's just like a niceness to a wolf to you. Like you have an intrinsic connection to wolves because of your goddess, the Mukna. There's a comfort you get from that. He is actually somewhat of a comfort animal in this moment. But it's your
She
show,
wasn't
Kieran,
lying.
I believe.
Support animal.
Yeah, true. So Yexarid is just sitting there. Like I said, you could just see that his snoot.
So to clarify, Kieran does see the
Yes.
flanking creatures.
Yeah, you all have dark visions. You all can see the flanking
Right.
creatures. It's more so for like, and I understand that like racially, like Baxi probably have dark vision and whatnot, but it's more so like they're hidden from his guards.
Mhm.
So like when they come in to talk to him, they feel like a presence
Right,
that makes
but
them
they
a
don't
nerd, but they
see
don't
it.
see it. Exactly.
Is Yexarid right next to the creatures, or is he further up ahead?
I'd say he's a couple feet ahead.
How much is a couple?
I'd say at least like 3 feet ahead of them. But Kieran, you enter as kind of the authority in this trio.
Yeah, and with the butt of his staff, he'll close the door behind him, and then walk forward. So he's about. You said how big is the vestibule?
5 feet, and then it's like another. I'd say another at least 20 feet until you reach Yexarid. Actually, a little bit further because he's beyond the central point, probably 25, 30 feet away.
Okay, so Kieran will go about 10 feet into the room.
Late is the hour. No.
Mm.
This conjurer of cheap tricks. Kieran Stormcrow. No, Yexarid does speak, though, and he just says, Xeris sent you?
Yes, she did. She said that there were details of a job here. And I've been waiting all night for these details.
Late is the hour for a visit, Kobold Hunter.
I take work as soon as I get it.
And you, new visitor. You've come in with the luxurious wagons, made it through the roads, and the Pale Covenant.
Yes, well, unfortunately, we lost one of ours to an ambush by them. You know, you should really keep your roads safer if you want visitors more often. You have quite the lovely town here, and it's a shame there's not more tourists to bring in an economic boon, if you will.
You see he leans forward, and now you can kind of see more of him. You can see that his eyes are this blood red color, starkly contrasting the pale, pale white of his scales. The back of his head, he has no horns, but he has those fronds that come off of Dragonborn, kind of like dreads all the way down the sides, laying flat over his green robes. And he just kind of reaches his arms out and looks to each of you.
As he leans forward, Wiswick takes that opportunity to cast Wall of Force behind him, and he's going to make a wall of force that blocks him on one side and the monsters on the other, and it's going to cover the entire room, cutting it in half up to the ceiling.
Or is that invisible?
No, and
No,
I
okay.
lose invisibility. Oh, it is invisible, actually, but I get revealed.
Okay. Because I've never thought of the fact that you can use Wall of Force kind of stealthily, technically.
Well, it has a
It's-
verbal component, so I would probably just be immediately revealed. If it springs into existence on a point that's in a creature, I could choose which side it goes on. So
Mhm.
yeah, if there's any
All right,
like
so you're
cut
putting it
through,
between them so that it keeps those creatures locked on that side of the room?
essentially, yeah.
Okay. What you all see immediately is Wiswick appears, and you can kind of see the last vestiges of his like somatic components and material components glittering. As you could see, you don't see the wall. You kind of like feel the presence of it. There's a quick like, but the why you see it first is upon Wiswick being revealed, you see those creatures lunge forward, and you see them blocked against the wall as they're like clawing against it, and you can hear like this horrible screeching noise from them as they're clawing and trying to break through. You can see those yellow orbs immediately erupt in their eyes as they can now see, and they're clawing and clawing and clawing. Yexarid, shocked by this, kind of like sits back like this, and then tries to stand up out of his seat. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Who's us?
Yeah.
Kieran will just kind of leaning casually on his staff, goes, "For a council member of a small town, you keep quite the company, Yexarid."
No time for pleasantries, Kieran. Ask the questions that you're wanting for.
Right when right when Wiswick does this, Timber's gonna walk to the entrance that we came from, lock it, and then use the padlock that he got before.
Okay, so you're gonna go into your hybrid form now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, easy enough to do. Door locks. You can hear the guard start to like try to jiggle the door, and the lock keeps it shut. As Kieran, you approach, and he's just sort of like collapsing in his chair a little bit. This very confident, upright dragonborn is now fidgety, frightened, and a little manic as he's just sort of like, you did not understand. I had to do what I had to do. Who are you? Who are all of you?
I am Kieran Islastana of the Wayward Five, a faithful servant of Iluvania, and you have made the wrong friends. Speak now, Yexarid. Tell me your sins.
Give me an intimidation check with advantage. You're gonna get something out of him, but this is just to determine the degree of intimidation. You've succeeded because that was awesome, but it's a matter of how much you get from him.
It's a 10.
Okay. So Yexarid is pushing back in his seat. He's sunken into it. He kind of like leans forward at your beckoning, but like not leans forward like up. He's collapsed now, kind of into like crossed hands, shaking. I didn't want to bring the Kale Covenant into the city, to the town.
Of course not.
She made me. I couldn't
Who's
say
she?
no to her. I couldn't say no to my sister. I thought she was dead. And she said, "Look what you've done to me." She said to me, "How could I say no?" Presence. And I've been here so long, and when I finally thought I maybe... Auric came to me. He said, "There were heroes here to stop them.
didn't mean to do it. I didn't.
Did he die by your hand, Yexarid?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Then that blood can never be removed.
I can help you. I can help you. You're here now. You're my only hope. You're here now. You get the reek of a coward here.
Speak from the beginning. Wiswick, how long do we have?
10 minutes?
You better
You see
spin
now
your
these
tail.
creatures are like patrolling in the spot. They've stopped attacking it. And you could just hear a little low kind of grumble and hiss of them. As you can just see the whole space, like you can see this pollen is like latched to the wall of force, where you don't see the wall, you just see kind of the when they like hit the wall, there's like a ripple of light. And you can just see this pollen is accumulating across the wall.
I was never lying. My sister and my parents were murdered. In our cold, gloaming morning, in the mists, walked Narasath, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I love her so much. She's my sister. And she came to me. And at first I just gave her a roof, food, money, whatever she needed. Yeah. It grew darker. And then I've caught her summoning one of these beasts. She held a glaive to my throat, grasped at my head, and said it was my fault. It was all my fault. That if I did anything to stop her, I'd be betraying the blood I already betrayed on the night of their murder.
What happened on that night they were murdered?
The brigands broke it. I heard them. We all heard them. My father gathered us, drew his weapon, and I hid. I hid. And I heard them strike my father down. And I heard my mother's cries over my sister's body as they died. And I hid. And I stayed hidden. Paralyzed. I could have helped them. As the brigands ransacked the house, I hid. And I stayed hidden. I did not leave that spot till I saw the lights of the dark stone rise above the horizon. And that's when I found my family.
You know how your sister came back to life?
No. I never visited those graves, for my great shame.
Where are their graves?
There was an old dragonborn crypt in the swamps to the east, where my family for years has laid to rest. Since we found this ruin and turned Nephrodala into the gem it once was.
She's there now?
Yes.
Whose body did she bring there?
Auric's.
Do you know what she plans to do with him?
I don't know. I never questioned her rituals after that day. I just gave her what she needed and hoped she would leave. Eventually, when she got enough power, she would leave this small town.
You're a coward and a fool, Yexarid. But that is where the Pale Covenant make their base, yes?
Yes.
And what are the other council members? How do they fit into this? Tabaxi.
Saravine. She knows everything. She's the only one who knows everything. Of no love for the Pale Covenant. Simply profit. She's made so much gold from their attacks. The price for a ship out of Neferdola has skyrocketed. The price for shipping goods out and into Neferdola. Her fleets are overwhelming, glutted with gold. The Gwyn questioned it. And they made me kill him.
No one can make you do anything. Yexarid, you did that yourself.
This threat of death and hatred of my family. Shame.
Excuses. How strong are they at the crypts?
They've been weakened since they lost a fight on the road.
Against us?
It was you?
It was 2 days past. 2 days, right?
Yeah. 3. No, 2. 2, you're right, 2. Yes. Narasoth said they were close to something big that would rebuild their forces. They're weak now. They're weak. If you go now, you can stop them. You can stop them. You leave.
Kieran's gonna look back at his companions, eyebrows raised. What do y'all think?
I do think we should leave
Now.
what Katya said.
I know Wiswick could use a rest, as could I.
I could use a drink.
Is there somewhere safe in the town we could go? Where we won't be found by anyone, and Kieran will say that looking down at Yexarid.
Yes, yes. If you can protect me, I can leash you somewhere safe. As he kind of looks back at these creatures now that are looking at him now.
You control them.
No.
Will they report this to your sister?
So most certainly.
But your gods here, they are sworn to you, correct?
Yes.
Vizik, can you take them out through the wall?
Wait, say that again?
Could you take them out through the wall?
Attack through the wall.
No.
Nothing can pass through the wall.
I didn't know if magic could. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, no. Magic can't pass through the wall. It can only be destroyed by a disintegrate spell. You can teleport through it, though.
If we gotta get out of here, now's the time.
I think I have an idea. And Kieran is going to cast Moonbeam right on top of the two of them. You know
Okay.
what? For chutes and ladders, we'll do it at. We'll do it at fifth level just to make this go a little quicker.
Okay, and what kind of saving throw is that?
That's a con saving throw.
Okay.
So right now it's a 40-foot high and only 5-foot wide, or 5-foot radius, column of moonlight that just pierces through the back of this office room.
The first one got a 14, and the second one got a 21.
Okay, so this lasts for concentration up to a minute, and all Curon's gonna do is just keep moving it back and forth between the two of them, basically trying to laser them to death.
Yeah, my question for you, Iswick, real quick, is the structure of your force wall. Because it did say there are curtains behind them. How did you structure? Did you structure to contain them or just separate them?
So I have 10 foot by 10-foot panels.
Okay, you would have
at
been able
maximum.
to contain them then.
Right. So I would probably just make like a wall of force that's like a half circle that would cut
And
off
how
that
tall are they
inside
again?
of the room. It's 10 by 10, but I have 10 of them.
So if you doubled them up on it, it would keep them in. I'll say you did that because otherwise they would have climbed over it by now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that there's enough space for you to have contained them. Okay. In that case, Curon, roll damage on that first one.
All right. They take half if they fail, or if they
Yeah.
succeed anyways. So.
I'm more so curious about the damage output in general than the half, because they're going to get hit quite a few times with it.
Right. So the first one is a 15
Total?
because I rolled really low. This is 5d10 damage per.
Wow.
Okay. Roll
Yeah.
the second one, because the second one, they both actually fail with
27.
11s each. 27. Okay. Roll the third one.
29.
Roll the fourth one. I'm going to say,
6.
because you're going to get 10 of these,
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to kill them.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
But I mostly wanted to get it a little bit so you can see how strong they are.
Right.
That it's quick in the sense of time, but like you watch them violently attacking. By the end of it, you can see them clawing at the roof and trying to rip their way out of this space as their bodies are being ripped apart by the moonbeam.
Does the radiant damage look like it's super effective?
The radiant damage. So this is actually a very specific thing here that you notice, Curon. It's not radiant damage that is super effective. It's your radiant damage that's super effective.
Blessed by the Crescent Heart herself.
But eventually, by the
Yeah!
end, they reduce to cinders and ash. As you can see, the pollen is burnt away as well. As the light is like magnifying through the room, it's blinding for some of you, as it's just ripping them apart like an ion beam from the sky. But these two are dead. You do hear the two in the courtyard kind of rushing around like alerted NPCs. And you now are starting to hear them trying to claw their way up the side of the manor.
I think it's time we go. Yexarid and Curon will walk over and can't really pick him up. I guess we'll just motion towards the door.
I can pick him up if you want.
Just hold him by the back of the neck
You got
and have him go first.
You,
shove him
pi-
first.
you grab Yexarid, and this figure who seemed so strong before you met him is just this weepy coward of a man as you're leading him through his own manor. As you step outside, the guard is immediately like, what the hell is happening in there? And he kind of like is real fussy, but then Yexarid's like, go home, go home, go home. And he's like, what? Go home. Hug your family. Leave.
We're burning away the darkness.
And as you're leading him out, almost like in this arrest formation, if his own manner, his own guards all kind of being not dropped to their knees, but dropping their weapons and him commanding them to leave, he leads you to the council chambers, where there is...
We grabbed Katya's weapon.
Yes.
I grabbed that on the way out. You could leave that behind.
Rosen and Gilly? Did they ever
You
show
would...
up, or-
Yes, you would actually
Okay.
find, like... you would find them outside the gatehouse, like ready to go. Like you see, like Gilly's got Rosen has got a big ass crossbow.
Nice.
You see Gil has a great sword in his hands,
Ooh.
and like a pocket crossbow at his waist, and they're just sort of like, as you can see next to them with 2 daggers in his hands, is Lalip still.
Nice. And point of reference, the guard that I originally fast friends, that concentration would have been broken by, if it had already gone up by the moonbeam, and he would immediately know that I charmed him.
Okay, so
Just to
you
let
would
you know.
somewhere off in the Laughing Serpent, there's a Dragonborn who went, but he's 2 drinks in, and he's like,
Well, I'm here.
well, if they got through that well, they're probably killing him now. I'm not getting paid if he's dead.
Let me go find a new job, I guess.
Yeah, right. Okay, so he leads you through the streets of the town to the council chambers, where he leads you towards the back of the chamber, where there's actually, you see he moves some things around, and you can see he actually kind of casts a spell in an area. You see a stone slab disappears to dust. You step into what's essentially a bunker on the other side that the council has made. Where you can see there are dried rations all over, large barrels of both wine and water, meant for the Nephrodalian Council to withstand any kind of takeover for months.
An
on
undead
end.
attack, maybe.
And maybe an undead attack takeover.
Yes, I suppose this will do nicely.
Very nicely. Break into that wine.
Hey, wait, not all of it.
The fights before it.
And you see he kind of like, he's deflated at this point. He kind of like sits down exhausted from this, and he looks over at you, Kieran. What will you do with me?
At this, Kieran will turn slightly, and then wielding his staff, he's going to spin it all cool-like and activate the glaive on it. And points it at Yexarid.
Please. No. No, I can still help you. I can go and
You're pathetic. And he just puts his staff back and the glaive disappears. You're a coward. You're foolish. The people of this town do not deserve your leadership. When this is all over, you will
Relinquish your seat.
yes, thank you. You will relinquish your seat. But until then, and Kieran is going to cast Geas on him. And he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
he got a 13.
Alright, that does not succeed. And all Kieran says is, You will do this, and you will not betray us.
Yes. Of course. I am entirely devoted. And owe you my life.
And without another word, Kieran will go sit in a corner and start to do a little meditation.
Okay.
Prayer.
So I imagine you all are going to rest here for the night?
Yes.
And then are you going to leave bright and early in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything I would like to do during the night before resting?
Just making sure that we have a good setup. I think Kieran would have been to like Oriel, like if you need equipment from back at the carts, I think now is the best time to do that. Take your retainers with you.
We have quite a battle coming up. Timber, did you get any potions that might be able to help us?
That is a good point, Wizwick. I will stay up a little bit and make a couple of things.
Right, I'll have my spells prepared.
Actually, if you can assist me, Wizwick, that would be greatly appreciated. If I come up with anything that I can make.
You would see Oriel does leave with Rosen and Gil to go and gather up some supplies. And truthfully, they go in to retrieve Oriel's belongings from Yexarid's manor as well.
Oh, right. I forgot that he had been stripped of those.
Yeah. But plopping up with a trail of water behind him to you, Kieran. What can I do, Mr. Kieran?
How are you feeling, Lollop? That was very brave of you to return with them. I thank you for your dedication to the cause.
You see Lollop is like stabbing the air and he's like, I was ready to go.
I see that. Are you sure he's not your best friend, Katya? He seems like quite the companion to have.
She's 2 cups deep at this point. He is my very best friend.
Ah, I think I see now. What do you think you can do to assist us, Lollop? You know your skills better than I do.
Well, I'm not so good in a real scrap, but in a, you know, if you get me in there real quiet, like I can take a few folks
I would
out.
just want to make sure that you do not put yourself in harm's way. Are you
I'm
familiar?
really good at escaping.
Well, that is good to hear. Are you familiar with the Dragonborn crypts to the east?
Oh yeah. It's not a lot of folks go there. I mean, it's also a little ways from town, so the road is dangerous. But also, not a lot of folks get buried there anymore. It's from the original town that we're built on. Only snobs like Yexarid. You know, it's Axelborn, you know, you got a nice, you got a nice mud burial. And, you know, proper respects
Of course.
to the Axel Dragons.
Praise
Pass
them.
on as part of the earth.
Speaking of, I pull out the jar that he had given me earlier, and I drunkenly walk over to Timber. I heard you were researching regenerative things. This is from Lollop.
What is this?
Ask him if he spits into it.
Alright, it's some axle bile.
Oh,
It has regenerative properties.
Timber's like,
Is it helpful? Is it going to help?
maybe not in our immediate mission, but it will greatly help Kieran
I don't
over
know
here.
how well to work on you folks, but when we use it, you know, you lose a leg, you lose a tail, you lose an arm. Come back in 10 days.
Timber immediately just sits down, takes out all his alchemy stuff, and just flips through his book and starts prepping the necessary things to Vizik, I need your help.
As they start to do that, I'll go plop down next to Kieran with my 4th cup now.
It's been like 15 minutes, so
I am a pro.
Yeah, you've essentially drank a bottle
Who
of
are you
wine in
speaking
15
to?
minutes. You're
Myself.
very drunk immediately.
Excellent. Good. Kieran, first of all, well done. That was fucking badass. Second of all,
Thank you.
you said you lost someone else there. What were they like? Tell me a story.
Well, she was quite hot-headed, wasn't she? I think.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. But she was always faithful. To her friends, at least. And her family. She would have done anything for them. And she did. Up to the end.
Is there no hope of getting her back?
There's always hope, Katya.
That is good to hear.
Of course. Though she's in the clutches of some very, very bad people.
Oh no. Well, what's that? From what I've seen, you pull a stunt like that, you'll get her back in no time.
Thank you. And maybe with your help, we can do it a little quicker. You had your own smooth moves back there, especially with that guard.
That's what I do.
I'll admit, I'm not always the best with coming up with plans. I appreciate the assistance.
You know, I didn't think I was either. I surprised myself.
Well,
Wiswick orders a drink.
Who are you ordering? From who? Just go get it yourself.
Is that how it works around here?
And don't spill any.
There's literally just a giant cask of wine in this bunker.
I've drank in half of it.
It's not a tavern, it's a bunker.
Yeah, we're not in the tavern, we're in the bunker.
Yeah.
yeah, we're not in a tavern, we're in a bunker.
I think we're in a bunker.
Bunkers don't have barkeeps.
I bet
Garçon.
Wiswick is like looking around,
Garçon.
like, where's the servers?
I mean, that guy was supposed to be the richest man in the city, right? Like, he can't hire a guy to make a drink?
I am the richest man in the city. This is an emergency bunker.
Translation: get your own fucking drink.
Oh, Kieran laughs.
Alright, Sean. I am ready to craft whenever you are.
Do some crafting.
Do some crafting. Alright, I'm gonna be making 3 potions. First one.
Okay.
Potion of Vitality.
Okay.
Because I can't make a healing potion. But it's pretty good. So it should be...
What should the DC
The
be?
DC should be 18.
Yes. 'Cause...
Plus 3 plus 5.
Yep.
And now I have expertise in this, so...
Correct.
So I have a plus 11 modifier. And Wiswick is helping me, so advantage?
I will allow that. Wait,
Perfect.
Wiswick, are you... I'll allow that, yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I
allow
got
that.
1 drink. That's not enough to distract me, I think.
I'm actually just going to... Oh, yeah, I'll just add 4 to it. It's fine. Oh my god. That's
you roll?
awful. I rolled a 1 and a 2. So that's...
No.
Yeah, that's fine. It's Potion of Vitality. It's not the regeneration potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just important point. So this one's a failure.
Okay.
Because
Same thing that happens the last time you tried to make this and it failed. You see the liquid starts to almost turn to smoke inside the vial, and it starts to shake violently. If you want to give me a quick sleight of hand check, you can try to save the vial.
Ooh, I will do that.
Yeah, it's a 18 DC.
It's a
And
31.
You have an insane.
I have a
sleight of hand,
31.
so I imagine that you would get it. You do take 1 point of fire damage for how hot it was.
Okay, and I imagine I like grab it with my mage hand as I put my hand away. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The mage hand immediately.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next potion?
The next one is Huron's regeneration potion, which
Okay.
I'm using the vial of Hydra blood with this, so I don't know what additional modifier it is instead of elemental water.
So, elemental water
is plus
what is elemental water's
is
modifier?
+3 normally.
And that's +3 to your. Is that +3 to DC or
The
your
DC, the DC.
roll? Okay. All right. So this is actually going to have a much higher DC. So the Hydra's blood I'm going to consider a +4.
Okay.
And the Axel vial.
Yeah.
Is going to be a +3. So this is
Okay.
going to be a
Set
20
plus-
DC.
Yeah. Okay. Come on, baby. Oh, there we go. 25. Well, no, sorry. 17 plus 11, so that's 28.
Okay. You have successfully created a potion of regeneration.
Oh.
It like at first you get worried as the Hydra blood almost looks like it looks like you mishandled the Hydra blood for a second, and it like starts to get murky and you start to panic because you're like, fuck, I just made a potion of mud. And then it starts to, you see the bubbles from the Axel vial take over the whole thing and suddenly it immediately, in that way that you're in chemistry class and they like pour something in and immediately clears it to a different color. It does so, turning it into this bright turquoise color with a faint dim glow with these bubbles throughout it. It's incredibly carbonated.
Oh. Get over here. And I realize that I cannot make a third potion because I don't have another vial. So I am not making a third potion.
It's a good thing I let you do that sleight of hand check on that vial then.
Yes, it is.
I might have some more vials if you ask me.
Kiran, do you have another vial?
Oh, yes, of course. The 3 very special, fragile, super awesome ones that we got from, what's his name? Raphael.
Oh, I don't know if he wants us to use that. I guess we can clean it out later. Fine, yeah.
We'll say this can be very dangerous. Actually, no. You should be good to use them. You'd have to really fuck up to mess these up.
Okay. Vizik, don't go anywhere. Still need your help. I'm gonna make a potion of speed or haste. That's for my last
Actually,
potion.
wait. No, never mind. He only gave us the 3
Right.
super nice ones. I don't think he gave us any other ones.
Yes, I'm going to do this, and DC for this should be another 18.
Yep.
Okay. That's good. It's a 21.
You got yourself a potion of haste now.
Sweet. So I hand first off I hand the potion of speed to Katya. Take this during battle. This will be helpful.
Is it booze?
Yes, but special booze. It will make you, instead of making your reaction time slower, it will increase your reaction time.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But only take it in battle. And he gives the potion of vitality to Wiswick. Here you go.
No, that one failed.
Oh right, I just saved the vial. That's right. Look, it's a pretty vial. I messed up. Kiran, this is what I was trying to make for you earlier. This, I believe, will slowly regenerate your other arm that I bit off.
So it was. Well.
Take it.
Bygones let bygones be bygones, right? I wasn't using it at the time.
You ever get mad about anything, Kiran?
Oh. Yes.
I say in a joking
Did
manner.
you see him in that room? That looked pretty angry to me.
But I understand that We all make mistakes. And he says this looking at Yexarid. And as long as we strive to atone for them, maybe, just maybe, we can find a place amongst the gods in the next life.
So, here you
So,
go.
The potion, just for reference, it will regrow your arm over a certain number of days. It's not as strong as the typical regenerate spell. It will take 1d12 days, 1d12 plus 4 days to regenerate.
Can I roll for that?
You can.
I'm gonna 1d12.
Normally regenerate, it regrows in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I rolled a 2.
Ah, yeah, I was
So-
going
It'll
for a
take-
1.
So
It'll take 6 days for it to regrow.
Take a-
And Timber, you would know that based on the dosage.
Take-
You know roughly, like 5 to 7 days is what
Yes.
you would say.
take a little sip. Tipper's gonna like portion it out, like he's gonna mark on the vial, like take this much this day, this much this day, this much this day. There you go.
But I will say, it does have the other aspect of regeneration too, where if you were to chug it all, it would heal you for 48 plus 15 hit points in that instant moment, and you would regain 1 hit point at the start of your turn every round. So it's the kind of thing where you can start to slowly take it, or you can save it and use it during combat if you want.
Don't use it.
It'll still regenerate your arm, but just saying, it has other aspects to it.
So, do I take it now?
Take it now.
If you take it now, you don't get the benefit of the healing properties later. If you wanted to like take it in the middle of combat,
Should I wait for the middle? No, Kieran's just gonna take it because unless Kaze specifically tells him like, "Hey, you can get 48 plus whatever healing."
I just wanted to let you guys know that there is an aspect of it that can be a super healing potion.
Yeah, but is his arm gonna go back after 6 days if he takes it during combat anyway?
It would probably take longer, and there'd be some other adverse effects because you'd be chugging it down.
So
It would probably be better to just do the dosages.
Yeah. So Timber's mindset is regrow his arm, so it's not so much
Right,
combat
yeah.
oriented.
If he just
If your goal is to regrow the arm primarily, then the dosages is better because there can be negative side effects to chugging the whole thing at once.
So Kieran takes it and looks around, and I guess like cheersing to Katya and Wiswick because they both have drinks. Goes, here goes nothing. Take a little sip.
It tastes like you've never had watermelon, but it tastes sweet, like sweet water, and it's carbonated. Your whole mouth feels fizzy.
Oh, by the crescent heart. It's quite delightful.
You have to hold back like taking another sip. You immediately kind of feel it like gaseously, like you want to burp immediately upon drinking it.
Well, don't drink it all.
I won't.
And then after a couple seconds, you feel extraordinary pain where your arm is.
By the crescent heart.
Pins and needles,
Oh.
sharp pain. It is the worst pain you've ever felt as your nerves are starting to regrow.
Oh no.
I imagine Kieran hopefully had already put the stopper back on the vial. Quickly puts it on the floor and starts to like tear at his armor and stuff. That I always imagined. I guess I always thought of it as like I had tied off the end of the chainmail so that like it was like the sleeve wasn't totally dangling, but was like kind of a little bit. So he's like pulling at the knot to try to like give it space.
I'll go help.
Yeah.
I don't know how much help will be, but I'll help.
Yeah, and everyone looking at Kieran's arm, once it's exposed, you can see like the veins are all inflamed around it. It's hot. It's boiling hot to the touch. As you can see, kind of like, if you watch it long enough, you can see like the skin just like moving as it's all starting to slowly regenerate material, mass, nerve, muscle, bone. And anytime it makes any growth, it's incredibly painful. Kieran, you would also feel other scars starting to heal from other fights. So overall, like, this is the concentration of pain. But you might feel a sharp pain somewhere where you took an arrow, so and whatnot. But it is working.
Cool. I remember a Hydra bite I got way back when. That it's probably. But yeah, so Kieran just.
I don't know if you're supposed to be experiencing this much pain. I don't have a remedy.
Does it hurt when you regrow things?
Not really. But you know, that stuff's but that stuff's meant for us.
Could have lied.
I've not really used it on you know, not Axel folk before.
Well, I guess, Lollop, I owe you as much of gratitude as my friend Kaze here for assisting me in regaining what was lost.
Oh, well, you know, I'm just really happy to help my best friend Katya.
I pop back to him.
As Lala pours himself a glass of wine, like a mug of wine.
Cheers, Lullup.
Cheers to victory over the Pale Covenant.
Fuck yeah.
Here. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go lie down. And Kieran goes to lie down.
Is there anything anyone else would like to do before the night is over and we rest?
Do you think we need to keep watches?
The barricades should hold. They don't know we came here. You took care of the two that would have known where we were going.
Excellent.
Unless Saravan thinks to come here. She's the only other person who would know how, besides the other council members, who could get in here. We all know the code. Cirrus, Saravan, Nasri, Auric.
Well, he doesn't know it anymore. Counselor. And then I go and drunkenly plop down somewhere.
Any way we could change the code just to be safe?
No. It's just been... It takes all of the... or a quorum of the council to be able to change anything about this. I can't do it alone. I would need at least one other council member.
Well, we're kind of on the clock, so I suppose it's safe for one night. It might be prudent just to keep an eye out anyway. We're used to it.
Give me 4 hours to rest, and I'll maintain a vigil. Or a watch. Wouldn't be a vigil.
Okay. So, everyone is finding a nice little corner or cot to rest in for the night. Nice.
A cat for cat.
A cot for Katya. You do so. All of you. Here on, you take your 4-hour meditation. You keep getting like kind of pulled out of it every now and then as you feel the pain, but you do get your trance in. When you come to out of your trance, you can see a sixth of your arm is back.
Fantastic.
But you look around the bunker. It's dark in here other than one dim torch by the doorway. Your friends are huddled up in their spaces, resting. it's, despite being fully stocked, it's not a luxurious place to stay. Even the council didn't make this into some kind of retreat. It's simply a bunker. You're alone in the still quietness and very dim light of it. Is there anything you'd like to do?
No, you could go.
I think Curon will have prepared some divination.
Okay.
And casting the ritual, getting the 25 gold pieces worth of incense from his collection. He cast divination. Oh, most holy crescent heart. I had feared I had fallen out of your favor for some reason. I don't know why you allowed Scarlet to be taken from us, but I see now you've placed another in our path to help guide us on our way. Tomorrow we fight against your most hated foe, cultists of Herfost. And I would ask, will we succeed fighting the White Dragonborn and the cultists tomorrow in the crypts to the east? I ask you, in the name of the moon.
You see the as you do this, the incense billows up as if a gust of wind takes it. At first, it almost feels like the incense is gone, like it dissipates the entirety of it. You're left in that dim darkness again before you notice each bead of incense forms across the entirety of the chamber, creating little candles, all lit across the entirety of the chamber in a circle around you. A wind blows. There's thousands of candles around you from your perspective. And as this wind blows, some go out and some survive the wind. As then you see in the center, they collapse down. That vision stays for a moment of the flickering candles before it almost another gust of wind blows it all down into a pile in front of you. And you see the pile starts to move. So you can see like a little ashen dragon. It sort of stands up, stretches its wings out, and roars a squeak of a roar before the wind bursts it away. But then the last thing you see is that settle down into the corner of the room in the shape of a raven watching you, the cinders of the ashes turning white. And the raven flies towards you and dissipates before hitting you.
The dragon that I saw, was there any kind of markings on it? Would I be able to tell what kind of dragon it might be?
Give me an insight check.
24.
With a 24, what you notice from the way the scene played out before you, you imagine a dragon entering triumphantly, flying. This dragon ripped itself from the earth.
Understood. Kieran. Oh,
You're asleep,
Wiswick.
Wiswick, you're asleep.
Kieran will gather his staff and sneak out into the council. Or actually, he's going to leave the structure, the building. It's still nighttime.
Yep.
And he's going to ascend into the sky and look out to the east. And see if he sees anything.
Give me a perception check.
Natural 20. 33. That's a 33 for me.
As I sat here in my DM mind going, what should I set this DC as? 18. 18. That's kind of hard, right? For the man who sees everything.
I see.
You see something. It is a cloudy evening. You can feel the light pattering of near frozen rain as we enter into the next month past Lunan Gloam. The ice is greater. You can notice this rain is freezing upon the buildings, leading to icicles beginning to grow, frost gripping. The cold reminds you of home, close to the mountains. We're dipping into the Adra River during the gloaming. As the rain patters against your face, leaving crystals of ice on your beard, you would see its shadow move past the moon between the clouds. Great wings, riddled with holes, rot, silhouetted against the moon. An avatar of Herfost.
Saying out loud, Kieran goes, I'm coming for you, and I will bring the wrath of my goddess down upon you and your followers. Beware. The false god killer is coming. And then he just kind of drops the steps of the brave and descends down. And sits atop the council chambers, keeping in watch.
Excellent. That is where we will end tonight.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Spooks.
Spooky.
There's spooks on the horizon.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Advantage in Paradise. We have lots of programming throughout the week. We may or may not have Shadows of the Mist tomorrow. Keep an eye on socials for that. But if we do have it, join Shannon and I as we watch that and hang out. We end the Scales Above campaign on Roll for Damage has their season 2 has reached its finale last week. Go ahead and you can that should be out on YouTube soon. But we will be filling the time before season 3 with some other fun adventures DM'd by our very favorite person, Mike Farty from Wonders and Blunders.
Wait, I'm not your favorite? Wow, okay.
Big Wolf.
You're my favorite wolf boy.
He's a good boy.
And that should be fun. It's going to be, from what we understand, a kind of like maybe silly, sometimes serious magic school adventure. It's going to be 3 episodes. It's going to be a 3-shot. It should be a lot of fun. Shannon and I are making our characters now. So join us that typical time with the Scales Above for Shannon and I. 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. For Paradice programming, we've got our typical programming. Join me on Thursday night for relaxing in Paradise, where I will be painting some minis, I think, this week. And probably maybe playing either some Overwatch if Shannon's down, or we'll be playing some Mass Effect again. Should be a lot of fun. Join us for that. And then on Sunday, we have Sean and Shannon Power Hour again to recap tonight's lovely episode and prepare you all for next Monday for the return of Advantage in Paradise, where our heroes will decide their next move to take on the Pale Covenant. VODs will be out soon for our One Shot in Paradise from this weekend, Into the Mist. My plan is to try to get it out tomorrow or Wednesday. But keep an eye on socials for that. Wednesday at the latest. And yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to raid the standard Better Than Heroes. So go and give them our love from Paradise. We will see you soon. Everyone, say goodbye. Oops.
Goodbye.
What if I want to say farewell? And
Say
thanks for
farewell. Say goodbye. Say sing a song. Say I'll see you soon. See you later.
Hasta luego.
Bye. Go ahead and take us out, Alex. And goodbye.